Really interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, really interesting how he considered the fold so heavily because people just under bluff in these $400 tournaments. It's really, really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, what are his bluffs? You know, like if we really think about it, like sure, ace high, like ace high has some showdown value if you had ace five, and when he raises the turn with maybe some backdoor diamond draw or something like that, he actually gets called. And on this kind of board, like what hands do you have that you're folding?
And it's going to have some misdraws and things too. So I think calling is the only option myself. Let's see if Boogaloo got away from it. Ooh, call is 6.
So this is close between call.
Really interesting. So call is 6, raise is 7,500 is 10 points. And I'm going to say he said that because this is a very bad player. And so he thinks the very bad player is going to stack off here with worse queens a lot. I'm going to guarantee that's what he's going to say. Very interesting, though. I thought call for sure was the right answer. I never am in this spot. I don't know. Interesting spot, too. I think this is a little bit of a lesson for everyone out there, too. A lot of times, the hands we want to float with, like this one, are better as raises. So this kind of falls in that category.
Yeah, and he was kind of an echo chamber for us there, saying, you know, we just get better hands to call and worse to fold.
Yep.
Like he's going to have some gut shots in his range. He's going to have spade draw. He's going to have king X. And we kind of, we kind of identify kind of what cards are going to be bad for us on future streets, and we're aware how to proceed on those cards.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's a very good point, man. You right.
That was the best. You didn't say anything. You won. Just straight up.
You won. I'm just spewing.
All right, so look at this. You're not opening this. You just looked at this. You're not opening.
Button cut off, hijack, low jack, under the gun one. You are right.
Come on now. Okay. I am. So let's see if he.
He's got to open it, or there wouldn't be a hand.
It wouldn't
I'm
be a
already
quiz.
down on points.
You're already down on points in real life. Now, obviously, you're gonna cheat, but
I'm gonna evolve.
you're gonna adapt, right?
All right, let's play it.
I'm going to cry if he says he's folding here. Like, if he's like, yeah, you should be folding this in this kind of tournament, and you were actually right. All right, cool.
Wah, wah.
Like a spot where we have
Ah!
standard,
Yes.
and the reason is because queen.
I just want to say for the record that this is the best 3-point score I've ever gotten in my life. Because the right answer was fold.
Right? But you heard what he said
Yes.
about the tables. This is a 3K.
Here comes the excuses. 10
The
points
excuses
fold.
to
It says
open,
right
if your
here.
table is particularly tight and weak, welcome to the $5 2K world. I mean, the $11 10K. I'm opening this, yeah, for sure.
This is the best 3 points of my life.
That's hilarious. And everybody's 50.
Nailed it. What the hell kind of play is that from King Queen? Who does that?
Who the hell? Yeah, so my dog.
Jonathan Little's an absolute crusher, so it's nice to have him.
Yeah, I agree, and I
He's
always
just
love
coaching.
playing right after sessions like this because I feel like my brain's warmed up. I'm thinking through things, and so it's a good way to start your session for sure.
But, all right, guys, this is it.
What's up, Mike? You want to give a gist? He was saying Narco Cop was playing about D-pipping about 28% of hands. He had been very aggressive in this $10 buy-in, and here are the options to fold, to call, to raise to 1,200, raise to... What? Wait a minute, he made it 800, and my man's giving options to 12 and 1,400 ounces. So it's already getting kind of spicy. That's so nasty. To be on the site with these other crushers, well-known poker public figures is pretty exciting, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I didn't mention that when I was kind of giving a little intro here too. Assassinato, Matt Affleck, John Little, all coaches on the site, so very highly respectable, quality poker content.
Yep, Evan Jarvis as well. Remember Evan Jarvis, Matt Affleck, Assassinato, John Little.
Yeah, so I guess that just makes sense. He could just have the ace of clubs in his hand. That's interesting, though. I
How
thought
many
that was
points you got?
interesting.
You didn't do that bad. 45.
I like how you just pat me on the back. You didn't do that bad. Well, yeah, good job, buddy. Like,
The back.
I remember I got the higher score in the first one. So, you know, we're 1 for 1, buddy.
I just want to know.
Calling, guys. Let's see if we're good.
Similar situation. That's pre-flop? I think pre.
All right, guys, we're checking, I guess. Oh, for fuck's sake.
When you're facing a min raise or just a touch more than a min raise, and there's an ante in play, which is going to be the case in most tournaments, I think, going forward, you want to defend pretty wide. If your opponent's making a 2.
All right, cool. You're going 1400.
I'm going 1400, guys.
I'm gonna go call with the arm and just see what happens.
All right, and
I would fold in game though, for the record, in case that's the winning end.
You won. You win. I have to concede. You win.
14
Uh-huh.
game.
14K, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Well, no, we cannot win. This is a pretty rough spot because damn it.
Mm-hmm. Where do you gonna get my chat? They like naughty things. They like just beer, alcohol, you know.
All right, let's do I can do a $10 ACR giveaway.
A $10 ACR giveaway courtesy of my man Toe. For me beating that ass heads up in this. Sorry. No, I'm kidding. We'll do this. We'll have to do it at least once a week, man. And then, you know, we'll do it. We'll do it every week a couple times.
So it's a tie.
I guess we got to give out $10 to each other's communities. We'll just do our own $10 free roll for each. Or does that sound fair?
Yes. Do you know what this means?
You win. I give his chat $10. Take it. You
So that's
filthy
cool because we have
animal.
2 ties and then a win from you and a win from me. This is like the epic battle. It's perfect. It's great.
Yeah, we're even Stevens.
This is awesome.
Take it.
I love it.
You know,
Stop. We got a giveaway going. Let's run the giveaway for the $10 ACR winner. Closing the giveaway. Drawing the winner. My man Sebs are getting the $10 ACR giveaway for this one.
good morning, everyone. Good morning. Ish. Good morning, everyone. Good to see you. Excited for today's study stream. What's up, everyone in Toast Chat? I don't know if he has me muted, but what's up, everyone?
No, we're here. We're live. What's up, guys? How you doing? It's time for the Saturday study session stream. Time to get better together with our very special guest, Jesse Sylvia. Hey, Jesse, you out there?
How's it going?
Thank you so
Very
much for
good.
doing this, man. I really appreciate you just instantly saying yes. It was awesome. It wasn't even hard.
I was super excited, man. You know me. I've been giddy about this since you picked it up. I was like, oh man, because I watched that whole final table, the whole lead up. I was like sweating it at home by myself. You know, it was exciting final table. It was the year Merson won. Russell Thomas, Jake Basinger, I think was there.
Mm-hmm.
It was sick, man. So that's awesome.
Yeah, really
Thanks,
big honor to
man.
have you, man. Also, owner of the greatest winning picture from a poker tournament when you're sitting on your girlfriend's lap there, fantastic.
That was hilarious. I forgot about that.
The
That's
fantastic FU Greg Merson screen name, it's all good. Everything's good. Everything's all good. Just thanks again, guys. Cool. Yeah, poker coaching stream. So for those of you guys that are new, this is the Saturday study session stream that me and my man Crazy Sixes host every Saturday at this time. Also, guys, we record these, so if you've ever missed any of the ones in the past and you want to go back and watch any of them, they're on the YouTube channel. I'll put the links in the chat for you. You can check them out. If you have any questions for me or any of our previous guests or Crazy Sixes themselves, just put them in the comments there. I'll make sure they get the question and you get your answer, and it's all groovy. So make sure you do that. We use Jonathan Little's pokercoaching.com website, exclamation point PC in my chat, exclamation point PC in Six's chat. You can get a link to sign up for free for 20 free quizzes, a bunch of homeworks, big blind charts for 100 blinds or more, all available to you. You sign up for the premium membership. There's webinars multiple times a week. Matt Affleck had a killer one this week. I loved it. Made a game out of ICMizer, which was a lot of fun and interactive. Anyways, webinars and stuff, and they have staking opportunities. So if you do well on these quizzes, you do well on your homeworks, they will potentially stake you in a live tournament and give you a chance to live the dream. So all that available to you, exclamation point PC in the chat. Sixes, did I forget anything?
No, I don't think so, man. Just 25 free quizzes if you do sign up. There's charts, there's homeworks you just have access to. So, I mean, there's just so much to the site, you know. There's just so much content built in. You know, you can spend forever on this thing, you know. So, yeah, it's awesome, guys. I would just say take advantage of the free stuff. If you're on the fence, and the premium stuff is sick as hell as well.
Yeah, and they have great coaches. We forgot to list them: Faraz Jaka, Jonathan Little, Assassinato, Acevedo, Matt Affleck, Lexi Gavin, Jonathan Jaffe. There's so many coming so often. All killers in the game. Quizzes from me, quizzes from Sixes, all that stuff out there. And it's cool too because you get points like you see from these quizzes and stuff. And it's basically they made a game of you get better points in your quizzes, and then you can use those points to buy other content to just get better, and then buy more content and get better and get more content. So they kind of made it like video gaming and interactive, which is really cool. And I actually think it scales to the masses really well. You know, you kind of feel like you're getting coached by whoever's doing the video. You know what I mean? Even though there's thousands and thousands of people on the site.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Should we kick off a quiz? What do you think? Jesse, you have anything you want to promo while we have their captivated attention? Anything going on, or you just want to kick into some quizzes?
I got some projects in the works. I don't know if they're ready to be promoted yet. I will say I watched the video you guys did, or the studies. Hold on, sorry. I got I'm hearing myself in the background. Oh, there we go.
You got to mute your browser.
Yep, my fault.
Cool.
I can't stand my own voice. All right. Yeah, I just want to say the study session you guys had Affleck on. I watched that one, and that was just really great. I play with Affleck a lot. I don't know why we just get sat at the same table in tournaments lately all the time, and I already thought a lot of his game, but it was really cool to have him break down some hands with you guys.
Yeah, super nice guy, super down to earth, and super good. Yeah, Matt's a killer. Lucky that we got connected with him. Yeah.
Yeah, Matt works really hard on his game, and we've had a chance to work and study with Matt a few times ourselves. And he's awesome, man. He's definitely a student of the game, which you need to be in today's environment.
Good coach too.
For sure. All
right, Six.
Yeah,
oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say we never talked about it directly, him and I, but I get the idea from him that he loves the game very much, just from the way he, acts at the table and stuff.
Yeah. Definitely. Cool. Hey, what's up, Fallon? A couple shout outs there. Jeff giving Jesse a gift sub. Thank you for that, buddy. And all the hype, all sorts of hype in the chat. Sixes, you want to pick a quiz and kick this party off?
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm always down. You already know where I'm going with this. We have to. You know where I'm going with this, though.
So you're gonna do that. You feel like getting your heart broke. Faraz Jaka, who never shows us what the opponent has, just says make the right decision. You never get to know. We don't get the rabbit hunt.
Yeah, I mean, I have to just get the pain out of the way. We're gonna play a quiz, and we're gonna be. He's just not gonna showdown. We're not gonna see the showdown. So I know it's gonna happen. And I still want the pain.
All right, cool. Which one? Pocket jacks or pocket sevens?
Pocket jacks. Let's just go 880.
Cool. Click on 880. Jesse, you can just watch the quiz too and follow along.
Yep.
Oh, let me get my volume set before we kick it off real quick.
Yeah, you got to blast Chrome just in case in the mixer, of
Ready when you are,
course.
Sixes.
All right, I am ready. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
So this hand is from WPT Deep Stacks main event at Montreal, and these buy-ins are typically around $1,100 buy-ins. So here we went ahead and opened pocket jacks from 100 big blind stack, got 3-bet from the cutoff back to us, and our options here are going to be to call, to 4-bet to 3,000, or to 4-bet to 3,750.
All right, cool. How was the volume there, boys? Hopefully it was good, chat. Let me know. What's up, BQ, Nikolai? See you guys. All right, so what are we doing here, chat? Let us know what you're doing, and then we'll obviously discuss how we would proceed in these situations. What do you think of Peanut? Haha.
Yeah, guys, let me know what you guys think out there. We got a raise and a 3-bet. Anybody 4-betting? Anybody flatting? Anybody folding? What are you guys doing? Get out there and let me know. Meanwhile, I'm going to try and...
I'm seeing a call.
There you go.
Cyrus is going 3K. What's up, buddy? Good morning. BQ is calling. Mostly calls on my end. What you got? Imagine's calling as well.
A bunch of calls coming in the strat. Call. Joe and Triple Barrel a little angry and going 3K. Fallon likes the call. His 3-bet range should be decently stronger, so
Stinky.
early
What's
position
up, buddy?
open. Morning, thank you for that follow, buddy. Gil calling. Most people call. Vast majority of people calling. Toe's calling. Definitely calling. I mean, I don't really need to get 4-bet, 5-bet in with this hand. I'm not trying to get 100 bigs in here. We're going to be out of position. It's going to be awkward. I want to keep the weak part of his range in here. Yeah, call seems good to me. What do you think, Sickles?
Yeah, I mean, I think I just want to be call. I just want to call here. We keep in worse. Unless, I mean, if we 3-bet, feels pretty sick to put a third of our stack in fold. So I think we would, if we're 4-betting, excuse me, we probably should 4-bet go. It feels kind of sick. I don't know about 4-bet bluffing specifically, Jacks. I don't mind calling here. Certainly some boards, even with 1 over, we can call. We don't have to just shut down post flop. So yeah, I don't mind calling. What are you thinking here, Jesse?
Yeah, I mean, I guess long story short, I would end up calling here like 95% of the time or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I could tell you what a solver would probably do in terms of like frequencies, but I don't know if that really applies to a scenario like this. I think that unless you're playing super high stakes or you have like a crazy aggressive dynamic with another player, you're going to find it very difficult to actually 3-bet call or 4-bet call profitably. So for the most part, I would just always be calling here.
Yeah, agreed. So we're all calling here. We see a few raise to 3K. Let's see what Faraz like. You ready, Tal?
Yep.
All right, let's do it.
Just deep, and from these positions, we're definitely just going to want to call here. If we were to put in a 4-bet, we definitely want to go the larger sizing of 3,750. When we are this deep, because small 3-bets just aren't accomplishing too much, we're not really folding out any equity from our opponent. So it is important to remember to size bigger when you're this deep. That said, I really don't think a 4-bet accomplishes that much. We're not going to get worse hands to get it in. It's going to be hard to get hands like King Queen suited, Ace Queen to fold. So I really just going to call here. So we'll go ahead and call. Flop is 10-4-3 rainbow, and our opponent c-bets about a third of the pot, 800. Our options here are going to be to call, to check raise to 2,400, or to check raise to 3,600.
All right. Flatten for 10 points, good thing. Starting off with a swish. What now, guys? Check to the aggressor, pretty standard, right? We face a c-bet, pretty standard. We walk.
Yeah, what are we doing here, chat?
You guys getting a little cray-cray? What's happening?
Check raise big, medium, or call. Snost is calling. Good morning, buddy. Good to see you. Stinky call. Imagine says raise small, so you're check raising to 2.4K. Rip Kobe says call, obviously, boys. Okay.
Toe Army looking a little. Toe Army getting a little aggro out there. 2,400, 2,400, 3,600, 3,600.
The
Got to protect
Toe
equity.
Army always
There's
out
a couple
there.
of
man.
calls in there too, but there's way more raises. Deuterino says, call, raise gets worse to fold, and called by better mostly. Keeps all his bluffs in. Yeah, and if we
Call
check
with him,
raise,
bluff
we make
the
him fold out a lot of
turn.
the stuff we beat and get called by mostly stuff that beats us, just call you. Let's keep him barreling. What do you think, Sixes?
Personally, yeah. I mean, it's a tough spot. When we check raise, we get better to call, and we do deny some equity from his ace highs, king highs, as well. But he also still definitely just has better hands. He definitely can still just have overpairs. And when we check raise, probably just get some better hands to call. We don't get value from too much worse, but we do deny equity. I do think we just call and see turns personally. If we check raise, are we just folding if he comes over the top? Probably not, and we can still just have better. So yeah, I would personally just feel like a call is going to be.
Even Machine Gun's just calling here.
Whoa, that's telling you. Machine Gun call. That's saying something. Wait, is it ACR? So he has tens.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Jesse, you doing anything different?
Yeah, I feel very back and forth. I think it's interesting that he chose jacks in general because it's quite a good hand to raise.
Mm-hmm.
You have a hand that's unblocking his like ace 10 suited, king 10 suited, some of the combos that may 3-bet more as a bluff, or however you want to look at that sort of 3-bet.
Mm-hmm.
And then, they can get value from those hands as well as denying equity to what is, a bunch of his other bluffs. Yeah, ace queen, king queen. You've got stuff like, king jack suited does have a bit of equity. Equity denial is very, very real on this board and probably quite underrated. So I think that if our opponent had all the proper 3-bets pre-flop, we would probably lean towards raising to 2,400. But as it is, I think, our call everyone's kind of desire to call pre-flop is based on partially on the fact that people are under 3-bet bluffing, right?
Sure.
And it's just like not a very good spot to get in jack. So for that same reason, I think call is very reasonable as well. In the past, I would always click call, and I think with jacks in particular, it's a pretty good hand to raise. So I might err towards raise here.
Just because of the arrow.
player.
Yeah, like he's aggro barrels light, so we can be pretty certain if it ever comes, an overcard, he's probably going to go bet. In some cases, he's likely to maybe turn some hands, some underpairs into bluffs, thinking those run out to really good for us and could put us in a horrible spot as well. So.
Yeah, even that has the counterpoint, though, of when low cards come, maybe if he barrels very light, maybe he just blasts off with decent blockers like king queen or ace queen or something like that. So
all your air to float, all your floating air to fold.
Yeah, I don't know if this was an actual hand that this is Faraz, right?
Yep.
I don't know if this is an actual hand that Faraz played or if he chose this, but if he chose it, he picked a very good hand to have in the spot because it's a particularly fun one to look at.
So Jesse, when you make it 2,400 and he comes over the top of that, are we calling off? Do we just have to call off?
I mean, I think theoretically you need to call off. I think in reality you're probably going to you're mostly going to run into opponents who just don't shove ace king or ace queen suited with the backdoor flush draw nearly enough, and so you're probably able to make like a really outrageous exploitative fold.
Right on.
But I wouldn't recommend that to anyone because you need to be very sure of your opponents and their tendencies and how you feel about their play and everything. So I would say in theory you're probably supposed to raise call off when you do raise this flop. Right. I also think that this is probably a theoretically a mix or whatever, but if you feel like they're under 3-betting pre-flop, which most people are with the bluff combos, then I would also, throw myself into the call camp.
If you
More
have the
often.
read like Faraz does that this guy barrels light, are you just gonna let him hang himself? Because it says
Yeah, I think.
barrels light on the that we got that little clue.
I mean, I would certainly do that with pocket queens, pocket kings. Jacks makes me really want to.
Needs a lot more protection, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
It's interesting because as you move up in the overpair category, you have basically more equity.
Mhm.
As you get higher up, so you're you're happier to raise, but you also require less protection. So you're more happy to call as well. So it's kind of like a bit of a paradox, I guess.
Interesting. What was most of your chat doing there, Sixes?
Most of my chat was calling, but we did see a few raise small. But
It's
yeah,
funny because
overwhelming
there was
calls,
a few
like
calls
80
in mine,
20.
but I think most of my chat, I'm looking back now,
The Toe Army is just blasted.
savages. Actually, it looks like more calling.
Savages.
All right, cool.
All right.
All right.
I'm going to call.
I think we're gonna click call too. I kind of love the raise. I ain't gonna lie.
Right.
But I do think in game, I think I called too much. But I think all the arguments for raise make a ton of sense. It would definitely be 2,400 too, 3,600.
And then we didn't even decide. We weren't even definitively happy to call it off or fold, So
I mean, what
when
is
we
this?
raised, we still didn't even have like a clear if we were snap calling it off or folding, So
Yeah, I mean, if this is some lower buy-in, mid-stake buy-in online tournament, I'm just gonna call it off and rebuy because we have a bankroll. And
these people spaz
this is
more.
something like where I think that it means a lot to the opponent. You know what I mean? And they're
yeah.
might be more cautious, like the main or something like that. All right, cool.
Right on.
Let's see what happens.
I think
Go ahead.
an interesting thing to point out too before you go on, sorry,
No.
is that when you're teaching people, when you're learning poker, it's good to have people never raise or 3-bet or take the more aggressive action when they're not sure what to do when there's aggression against them afterwards. So like in this spot, you don't want to raise and not know what to do, but at some point, raising becomes the more profitable option. And, we've all spent a lot of time studying poker. So our ability to kind of move through the process and figure out what the best option is if they come over the top after we raise, we should have confidence in that ability, basically. So it's one of the spots where I don't mind really like throwing ourselves into the abyss and having to figure out what to do if he jams.
Yeah, because once you've decided to make the raise, you kind of intuitively have know if you're going to be calling or folding a little bit more in the spot as well. Once you put yourself in that situation, once you do raise, you're going to have a clear understanding of where to go from there. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And it's going to be easier in game to decide as well than in a spot like this as well. So yeah, I like call though in this particular situation.
I love the raise, but I'm calling just because I can't let Sixes win this quiz off. It's the point leveling.
Yeah.
Let's do
All
it.
right, I'm ready. Let's do it.
Uh-oh.
16 seconds. Yep. All right.
So this is actually a spot we're
weird.
gonna
that was
get a
weird.
lot of value by check raising. So I think check raising 3 times the big blind here, 2,400 is enough. 3,600 just isn't necessary. And calling is also an option, but I think when we call, we're missing out on a lot of really good things happening. First of all, we benefit a lot here because we can get some overcards to fold, and we kind of clear out some of that equity, especially a hand like King Queen. Our opponent does have a lot of 10s in his range. We could have 3-bet a hand like 8-10 suited, 9-10 suited, 10-jack suited, Queen 10 suited, King 10 suited, Ace 10 offsuit. So we get a lot of value out of that. Our opponent might have some 8s and 9s they're 3-betting that they're going to continue betting on this flop, and now we get them to put a lot more chips in the pot. So a lot of good things happened here by check raising, so definitely going to bump it up here. Oh, and I just remembered I actually ended up calling in this spot, and I wanted to show this hand on purpose because of that. So we ended up calling, which I think is the second best play. And turn comes the king with backdoor flush draw. Our opponent barrels 1,500 into 4,000, and now our options are to fold, to call, or to go all in.
Shout out to Jesse for nailing it for the raise. Also, I need to issue a public apology. Ginger in my chat says, you teach us Toe, and we give you the right answer, and then you clicked elsewhere. So, I apologize, Toe Army. You guys are savages. I will not turn against you again. I got to remember where my loyalties lie, Army. I apologize. You guys are awesome. You guys win. 10 points for the Army, 5 points for Toe. Can you change the auto source in the browser explanations? Yeah, it should be better now, right?
Yeah, but he made a lot of very good points
guys. It was
there, man.
a black screen. It took a minute to catch up.
16 seconds. Yeah. All right. That was very good. He made a lot of good points. He echoed a lot of the things Jesse said about, denying equity, and then he will have some underpairs and a lot of 10x as well in his 3-bet range. And we can get value from those hands and a little protection and value from those worse hands as well. So that's, very good points. Very, very, very good points.
Yeah, I mean, this spot, I don't know how much we need to talk about. I mean, we can't fold, right? I mean, we can't raise, we can't fold. I think calling is like the only option, right? Like, we just don't have a choice as played, right? No point in raising now. Disagree?
We put in 1,500. There's going to be 8K. We're going to have under 1 SPR, ton of bad river cards. Will our call on a turn freeze him up from, he could still have ace queen, ace jack, eights, 10x hands that would barrel and then just check. So, yeah, I mean, it's interesting, right? We're getting a pretty good price on the call right now as well.
Roberto says you can fold. It's an option. I mean, it's definitely an option. You just click the button.
It's definitely an option.
Easy game. Most of the Army going call. Roberto says I won this hand already. Then folded the turn. Out of position sucks here.
What is your chat saying? Definitely
mostly calls.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of calls here. Somebody said call and bomb it when the queen comes on the river and he shoves. Definitely hoping for a 9 or lower on the river. So yeah, still an overwhelming amount of calls here. Brian's calling. What are you thinking here, Jesse?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the call camp for sure. I think it would be a really interesting conversation if he had gone maybe half pot or 2/3. At 1/3 pot, we're just getting too good of a price, and you can include too many of his hands that want to buy a cheap showdown that we may beat. Especially, I mean, he probably just has all of his 10x going this size. So
I was just thinking too, if this guy's a competent aggro barreler, like he's gonna be tripling a decent amount, right, to try and push us off our 8s and 9s and 10x hands that didn't raise him on the flop.
Well, it just says like he's not gonna just be super value heavy with his double barrels on turns is the way I interpret that as well. And he's going to use hands, his gut shots, his ace queens, and still betting his ace 10 here, kind of to buy showdown and things like that. So yeah, I mean, this is a pretty easy call getting this price with this hand, in my opinion.
Triple says it's a fold. It's a bad call to check raising flop. We didn't check raise flop. We should have check raised flop, but we actually ended up calling in game triple barrel. So we're here under those pretenses.
Yep.
Cool. Let's do it.
I will say pre-flop he didn't give you a fold option. For whoever in the chat said that. We can fold. We can't always fold in this game.
That's true.
They don't always let us.
He rigged it. That's what happens.
Let's do it.
So here we're definitely going to continue. Sure, he could have some kings in his range that he started betting, like king jack suited, maybe king queen suited, king 10 suited, pocket 10s, pocket 3s, pocket 4s. Those are all the hands we're worried about. That said, it's still not enough hands. We are pretty high up on our range. There's a lot of other hands we can fold. Hands like 5s, 6s, 7s, 8s, 9s. even though we still may continue with some 8s and 9s, especially with the flush draw coming out, and the opponent didn't size too big. So we are still going to consider calling with 8s and 9s sometimes. That said, this is one of our better holdings. Our opponent might even be value betting some ace-10s here. So definitely continuing here with the call. Not really much benefit by check raising all in. It's hard to get worse hands to call. We're not going to get anything better to fold. And yeah, folding would just be throwing away the best hand a lot. So definitely calling here. We call, check, and the opponent goes all in. Now our options are simply call or fold. What do you do?
Stinky said fold before it even fucking showed the river, so that's funny. Somebody had folded just before like they even seen the river card. That's hilarious.
Yeah, Sticky. It's like I was kind of saying, like if this guy's competent, he could have some bluffs here for sure. Now we're in an awkward spot. Super awkward spot.
Oh man.
Jones is folding. Call. Rebuy table 7. Beats not scared.
We played it this way so he would barrel, so call. Yes, please do. Everyone, so far I'm just in one fold and some calls. Come on, chat. What are we doing? Don't be shy. Chat pro.
Would it be spewy with ace queen suited? Maybe, but probably not. Actually, I don't think that was an okay combo. There's definitely some of that in there. Fold on ACR. He had a set of 3s on the flop. I got a similar chat to you, Sixes. Everyone's ACR scared. I don't know what's up with that.
PTSD, bro. D-Wish is calling. Okay. I think we are too under rep to fold, he says.
I half feel the same way, if I'm honest. I'm not loving life here. And I might fold just because I'm like, I have 65 bigs and I'll find a better spot. But
I mean, he 3-bet 1-2-3 us.
He did. He's got a lot of ace king.
Aces. I mean, why can't he have aces? Why can't he have 10s? I'm torn. I'm probably folding.
Vice chick's not scared. She's calling. Jeff's folding.
Fold. It's embarrassing to lose your stack to a flop set with second pair.
Tina Geretta's calling. But it's a pretty equal mix.
Yeah, it's like 50-50 in my chat here as well. So I'm seeing some folds, some calls. What are you thinking here, Jesse?
I think it's pretty interesting. I think if you were to stick this in a solver, or if this came up on like the DCO app or something, it would probably call off. You tend to have to call with a hand of this strength in these situations a lot. I think the problem with that is you have this scenario where, for that to be correct, our opponent has to 3-bet all the hands that he would 3-bet pre. And then he has to barrel all of the hands that he's supposed to barrel, and then he has to continue barreling all of those hands. And somewhere in there, like in that translation, like something gets lost in actual play where they miss out on a bunch of those hands, and they don't arrive at the river with enough of the hands that they might bluff with, or they don't bluff enough of the hands on the river because they don't want to lose their whole stack or whatever. Emotions play into it. So I would probably just fold here. I think people just, for like the reasons I described, I think people tend to
Underbluff.
just show up with not enough bluffs inadvertently, or maybe even like advertently. Like we've all been on the river and just kind of like click check back after a while, and then later on been like, why did I do that?
Yeah. The second you did, you kind of knew you just lost the hand.
Yeah. So I mean, I would honestly mostly fold in this spot unless I had a very good. That said, I mean, this guy, we have notes for a reason, and maybe this is the guy that we should be calling down against.
Right, agree.
I kind of agree with all that. I'm right in the same boat. It's sticky. It's sticky. White Llama Poo Poo, screen name of the day, says he has way more combos of hands that beat us compared to the hands that he's bluffing, which is fold here. Totally. Why would he bluff 10x though? He has showdown, fair. I don't think he necessarily has 10x, because I think 10x would probably not bet the river and realize his equity, just showdown value. But he does have some bluffs. And a shitload of ace king and queens and things like that. Well, even queens.
Right.
Does queens jam river? Queens probably doesn't jam river, right? So shitload of ace king and then aces. And
I think you could probably get away with shoving river with queens
With
just
queens,
because
yeah.
you block king queen so much.
Okay.
And your opponent should. I mean,
And you're gonna get
if
me
you're
a call
in-
with jacks.
yeah. Well, also if you're in imposition shoes, your opponent doesn't have much ace king, right? He 4-bets ace king mostly, or
Yeah.
he plays some sort of mix that has is missing a lot of the ace king. So if you're blocking king queen heavily, you may be able to go for value with queens, but I would imagine that it checks back, and I wouldn't even be surprised if it's supposed to check back in theory 100% of the time too.
Queen jack unlikely. As we have jacks, possible diamond dry barrels. I don't see value over 10x. Yeah, I agree. All right, cool. I guess we're folding.
I was thinking fold. It's tough, right? I mean, a lot of times in the games that I play in, at least, this is certainly a different caliber of WPT live. 1K plus something I don't play a lot of course. Online, people just are not tripling like this too light too often. Obviously this guy's aggressive barrels light, but I think general pop in the games I play in just are not going 1, 2, 3 enough on a board like this. And they just do find give ups with ace queen sometimes and stuff they shouldn't. I'm probably just folding here.
No love for the Llama carrying Memorial hand.
Can we rebuy? I know, right? That's a good question, BQ.
All right, cool.
But you know what's gonna happen? We're not gonna see what happens, everyone. I'm
letting
you know now, so don't.
Let you know now. You're not gonna see the hand.
We are not gonna know. We're gonna call and then just not know.
If he folds, you're not gonna see it, and if he calls, you're still not gonna see it.
So here we go. I'm folding, and then
wait. Can I think 3-bet stat has like a huge effect on this hand because, I mean, this is like the dream scenario for a guy who is aggro and barrels light, right? Like he's like a 3-bet pot where like a king comes off on the turn is kind of the board that player type is going to barrel a lot. So I expect him to have some bluffs. So like his 3-bet preflop stat seems really important to me because if he can show up with enough bluffs, he's probably going to go with all of them or most of them, perhaps too many of them. So if that would actually be like a huge part of my decision personally.
All right, let's go. I'm calling.
Calling.
I'm over this. I'm calling.
Damn.
Barrel's light. I'm doing it. Sometimes they're just gonna have it, and we're gonna have to rebuy for 1K. So let's go.
I was really leaning towards.
I gotta take the lead in this challenge today versus Toe. I need to win today. We're calling. Results don't matter. Is it right to call off here versus an aggro barrels light? Yeah. Let's do it.
You got me leveled.
I'm gonna say that, make you hit call and then hit fold.
That's what you always do, you bastard. Shit. All right, I want to fold. I'll fold, but God, it's gonna be called. But I'm fold. All right, cool. You might get me on this 1/6s.
Let's do it.
All right.
One time, baby.
So here, we're definitely going to be folding here the high majority of the time. It's just too many chips to get in. Our opponent is barreling again, and we're blocking some key bluffs they might have. Our opponent could have a hand like 9-jack of spades, 9-jack of clubs. We're blocking those two, so now we're only beating, the heart and diamond combos of those two hands. They could also have hands like ace-jack suited, ace-jack offsuit, blocking those. And if during the times we did call down with something like, 9s or 8s, 8s are definitely going to be a better bluff catch than this, and the 10, anything with a 10 in it is going to be the best bluff catch. So I'd much rather be in here with, some sort of 8-10, 9-10, 8-10 suited type hand. And that's pretty important to recognize that even though a pair of 10s is worse in value than a pair of jacks, it makes for a much better bluff catcher because when our opponent goes 3 streets here, they're heavily repping some hands like pocket 10s, king 10 suited. So being able to block those hands is pretty important. Also, blocking aces is obviously going to be pretty important, which is why ace 10 becomes a good good bluff catching hand as well. And another thing I wanted to show here was, as I said on the flop, this makes for a great check raise spot. And in game, I didn't make the check raise. So what happens is you end up getting yourself in these tough spots because you're so deep stacked, and your opponent puts in so many chips, and the board, ran out with an overcard, with a flush missed, and this is a tough spot. So I don't blame some occasional call if you think the opponent's bluffing too much, but that's going to be pretty rare here at all. And the main point that I wanted to make with this hand was, by check raising on the flop, you actually make your life a lot easier because you get to lower the SPR and make the decision to get your chips all in by the turn. You check raise and the turn comes, small cards, you're going to find it pretty easy to just stack off. When the turn does come an ace or a king, then you are going to slow down and you're going to have to figure it out from there. But there's only a couple cards that force you to slow down, and majority of deck you're able to comfortably get it in. So yeah, definitely check raise. And as played, I'm going to be folding this river.
That was a good quiz.
All right, that was fun.
That was a great quiz.
You know
I'm
what I
sorry,
got for that?
Talami. We would have switched it.
You know what I got for that last one for the call?
What was it?
A 1. He hit me with the 1, bro. Oof.
You didn't get goose egged.
You hate to see it, man. Yikes. And that reminds me, I seen a great tweet the other day from Joy Ingram. He says, I don't know who needs to hear this, but fold the river.
That's true. I do remember that.
I don't know who needs to see this, read this, but fold the river. Damn it. All right, cool.
Yeah, that was a good one, man. That was a really good quiz.
That was fun.
And a hand that seems like an easy one to play that got really awkward and weird. Great.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a tough spot.
For sure.
For sure. Those are the tough spots in poker.
Yeah, they make all the difference too, right?
Yeah.
Cool. I guess it's my turn. Damn, we've done a lot of these quizzes, Sixes.
Yeah, we have. We've been doing them for a long ass time.
Let me go to show all. I'm gonna scroll down a bit. Every time I look to that's my quiz. Can't take my quiz. Here we go. What about 814?
814. Who is that? I might have done it. Let me see.
It's JL.
I've done it.
Oh, that's why it's blank. It's because you did it when you were solo, huh?
Yep.
Okay. So that chunk. Oh, damn it. I'm misclicking. I don't want to skip all the Alex's, but he always has the volume issues.
Yeah, I don't want to have another crazy volume issue stream today.
What about 744?
744. All right, cool.
Mr. Matt Affleck.
Done it. I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, we've both done a few streams without each other, and it ends up me doing a few quizzes. How about let me help you out?
Question for the group: if we check raise the flop with the jacks and the king comes on the turn, are you following through? What do you think?
It's a good question. I mean, can we continue for a small ass bet, and then I don't know. We'd be 4,800 plus the 3-bet of 1,100, so there's like 6K out there, and we have like 6K in our stack or something like that. Because we had 8K, so the SPR be like 1. I'm not exactly sure. Just jamming, we still just get called by some of his better hands. Does a 10x call off on the turn when the king comes after we check raise and then jam that turn? It might be a check.
I feel like I'm checking too. Jesse, what are you doing if you check raise the flop with the jacks?
I think I'd check. I wouldn't be surprised if you could also go with the small bet strategy, but I would probably check. Your opponent has a pretty large range advantage on that card since they're not bet folding ace king and they have a bunch of ace queen suited with backdoor flush draws and stuff that improve equity.
And then we're check calling one, right? If we check and he bets in the backseat.
I mean, when he does bet, we're going to be left with like half pot or something like that going to the river.
So then check.
Yeah,
Because remember the SPR is going to be like 1 on the turn or something.
I think he's going to be going with a smaller size a good amount, and you probably can never fold to that. If he shoves, it's an interesting spot. I guess both like theoretically and in practice, because if you think about like the type of hands that they shove with, it's very player dependent. Some people really like to protect too much, and some people only have turn draws there or something, and go smaller with their value.
There you go.
Right. All right, so pick one.
I did 744. Ready when you are.
I already did 744.
What?
Yeah.
I might have to make. What the hell? You might have to pick it.
All right, cool. I'll pick one.
724. Does that work?
724. We can do that. Yes.
Cool.
340 with 40 bigs in the main. Let's do it.
All right, cool. Ready?
Yep.
All right, cool.
Alright. In this hand, we have 4-3 off in the big blind. Player, tight conservative player is going to make it 1,000 in early position. We get a call from a strong high roller player, call from the cutoff, call from the button, and it gets to us in the big blind. Should we fold, call, or re-raise to 5,500?
All right.
All right.
All right. So what are you doing here with the 4-3 off, getting 8-1 or something, right? Something crazy. 8.3, 8.4.
Calls. One call with a question mark. Why not play the king, says Mendo. Because we don't want to get raised. One, the king hits a lot of his continuing range.
Another goat quiz. It's pretty split in my chat between calls and folds of right now. Good morning, good afternoon, Noisy Mod.
I have one fold in all calls.
Mathematically, it's a call, but personally, I fold. What's up, LPP fan?
Hey, think about this hand is it's rarely dominated. Totally true.
Odds are too good for me. All right, that's what everybody's saying. So, wow. Yeah, a lot of folds. What are you doing here, Tal?
That's funny. You have folds. I have like all calls and one fold.
Yeah, it's pretty split in my chat. Somebody's Canadian Aces says 3-bet with the flex sign.
Oh, he's gonna
BDE.
squeeze.
He's got that BDE. Okay. Okay. Out of left field. What's up, Big Town Brown?
Don't you
Good to see
lose
you, buddy.
so much equity multi-way that it's not worth the odds? I mean, the cool thing about this hand is if you flop well, you're gonna flop well and get paid a lot, and if you don't, you just easily fold. So there's that. I mean, hand like this is definitely easy to play post. So there's that.
I mean, this is pretty dog shit. We're supposed to fold, right? I mean, this is the bottom.
I mean, I kind of find myself folding too.
I mean, it's offsuit as well. Getting 8-1 with 100 bigs in the main where people make massive mistakes. What do you think here? What would you do here in the main? I'm sure you face a spot like this, Jesse.
Yeah, I'm folding here. I think a common misconception, I might saw in the chat a little bit, is that the better pot odds you're getting, the more you need to call. I mean, that's true, obviously, like if somebody bets small heads up or something, but when you're going multi-ways, you have to remember that for every other player, yeah, your pot odds get a little better, but your equity gets worse. And the best pot odds you're going to get are always going to be, compared to your equity, are always going to be heads up. For each other player that entered the pot, you actually want to play less hands. So I don't mind, like, I actually think 4-3 off is like, if you're going to go with like a really bad offsuited hand, it's fine. Like ace-4 off, for instance, would be a really, really bad hand to go with because you just can't flop top pair and ever. You're probably going to lose money on average when you flop top pair, right?
Right.
In a 5-way pot. But like 4-3 off, like I think Six has said, it's really easy to play. Or maybe you said that.
Yeah.
Toe.
Yeah, maybe Toe said that. It's really easy to play. It is really easy to play, and it does. I mean, you basically only continue with it when you flop a huge hand. You will lose sometimes when you flop 2 pair because it's 5 ways and people are going to be real careful. And so it's not like you're just going to get infinite money in when you flop bottom 2 against top pair all the time or something, but you will make some money when you flop 2 pair, and then you will very occasionally make some wheels, and your opponents will have some strong ace, top pairs or top 2 or whatever.
Right.
So you'll make a ton there. So I think it's better than a lot of these other raggedy offsuit hands. Like I'd almost rather have like 5-4 off than maybe like king 9 off even.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Right.
But yeah, I mean, I would just fold this hand probably.
Yeah, Jay Smith said it well. Right? You're just not going to realize the equity you have with his hand this many ways too. Like it's it's just tough, super tough.
Yeah, equity realization's tough, man.
Especially out of position.
You lose a
too,
lot
right?
of it.
Yeah, like it's so hard.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I would end up folding here as well. A lot. I mean, just offsuit, but at the same time, I can see calling being reasonable as well. With 4-3, kind of like echoing what Jesse said here. So, but in this case, I think we're just going to flick it in and see how he wants to react here.
Really? I think I'm gonna fold. Here we go again.
Yeah, I mean-
Sixes.
I mean, I've already lost the first one. What we got to lose? We're already spewing and we're spazzing out, spewing around, boys.
I just want to let you guys know in about an hour there's going to be a giveaway happening in Sixes chat today. Make sure you guys tune in. Let's go.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
Ready? Go ahead.
I would throw out there too the fact that he's tight conservative makes me want to fold even more.
Sure.
So I'm like pretty solidly in the fold camp. If it was like a loose opener and there were 4-way, maybe I would call or something.
Let's do it.
Oh no! I'm gonna stack that. I'm gonna see. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but let's do it.
The leveling has begun.
Yep. All right.
This is a pretty close spot pre-flop. I don't mind folds, but I think calling is winning a few chips. These connected cards do really well in these multi-way pots, like 5-6, 4-3, 6-7 off. These hands do much better than like king 7 off. I'd call 4-3 off and fold. I'm folding ace 8 offsuit, ace 9 offsuit, ace 7 offsuit. Those weak offsuit aces I'm folding as well. Maybe the real ones I would call, like ace 4 off I'd probably call. But what takes a hand you call here in the big blind? You want to make sure that they play very well multi-way. You can make a straight or a flush, and not a weak flush. Like I would fold 8-3 diamonds here. I would fold jack deuce of diamonds because I don't want to put myself in a spot where I get flush of the flush with 4 other people in the pot. They probably all have suited hands. So we call. You should never squeeze here. This is an awful hand to squeeze with, and folding's perfectly fine too if you don't want to put yourself in these marginal spots. H5-3 rainbow. Should we check bet 1,500 or bet 3,000?
Hey, Doc Jack, second to follow. Gold 34 Ice. Thank you for the follow as well.
Let's go, Toe.
He eats me on that one. Fold was 8 points, so super close, guys. Super close, just like we said. Someone asked in my chat how bad the squeeze would be. Matt kind of said it would be bad. And, like, yeah, I mean, I just think at that point we're just kind of straight dick swinging and trying to, like, how often do we get heads up? Probably going to get at least 2 callers, I think. A decent amount. And that's like, just why? Why are you so angry, Beats? Why?
Somebody wanting to squeeze that spot?
Yeah, we just find a much better spot.
With no
I think Marlon's,
blockers
out
and
there
under the
with
gun
squeeze
raise, just
too.
plus 1 raise, excuse me.
Cool.
Yeah, I think we just snap check this and move on to the next street, right? Is there anything to discuss with
No.
leading here? I mean, I don't think you ever leading here, Jesse, like in the spot.
No. I mean, if this was like 3, 5, 6, I think you can make really good arguments for leading.
Right.
Not just our hand, but like leading a bunch of hands. But I mean, I don't think any ace high boards are probably good enough for us to lead.
I agree. Everybody in my chat is checking here. Nobody's donking. So yeah, let's all just speed check and get to the next street.
Cool.
All right. We should always check here, and the key concept for why we should always check is relative position. And in a multi-way pot, when you have the pre-flop aggressor on your direct left and everyone else is sandwiched in between you and him, you have relative position, meaning if this guy chooses to continuation bet, we get to see what all other 3 players do before we have to act on our hand. And if we were to just lead out into this pot, we would forego that advantage that we have. So when you have relative position, you want to always use it to maximize your information. And I'm going to gun +1, that's 2,200. And the button calls. Should we fold, call, or raise to 8,000?
All right, guys. Pretty, what's that, like 40-ish%, something in that range. And a call. What are we doing now?
10K out there. We got to call 2.2K. What did you guys do in chat? Call. Call easy. We call for this kind of a flop. Brian says fold. Okay, Brian's folding. Peanuts folding.
Fallon was saying we really dominate with this hand. I like this hand. Yeah, I mean, it works. Definitely works.
Now that we are here. Call now that we are here.
I wish I did something other than call, says Triple Barrel.
Strimba, easy call. Holy, what's up, my dude?
Clay Chip says fold. There's one fold
Yeah,
out
I'm
there.
seeing a few colds. I've seen like a handful of folds as well.
Clay Chip's
8K, somebody says, stop
out there by
trolling.
himself. Stop trolling.
You ain't going 8K. You ain't got those kind of stones. Stop joking,
Joe's
bro.
folding. There's a second fold. Yeah, we just can't fold, guys. We're just getting a good price. We have a pair and a draw. We can never fold here. 3 or
5 to
4,
1 with
two,
a pair and a gut shot.
Good cards.
Less than 5 to 1, but
Yeah, we can never fold here. We're just getting a good price. It's a trap. It's a trick. Don't let Matt trick you. He does this. What do you think, Jesse?
Man, this is close. Like, I could see raising being a strong option, but I mean, you're going to have a lot of opponents who just c-bet ace-jack when they should absolutely check, right?
Sure.
And then you can just really punish them by raising here. The caller on this board texture could be plenty strong, so that's concerning. I mean, I'd probably play it safe and just call, but I wouldn't hate on raising at all.
Do you find that the player pool will fold the ace-jack when you raise? Or do you think you're going to have to fire twice a lot? This is the main, so you might be able to scare the piss out of somebody because it's the main, right? And they don't want to bust.
Yeah, I mean, I would for sure size up because we're probably not planning to barrel many turns that don't improve us. So I would want to make sure that he folds it right away.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the fact that it's 5 ways, he has a player behind who could just have, a set or 2 pair or something. And the fact that we're, we have a bunch of nuts here, like we can have straights and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think most people, even like some random guy in the main, would probably find a fold here. And again, like, I think your point plays really well that people are terrified day one in the main.
Sure.
It's like the most careful you'll ever watch people play. Actually, if you go back to last year and you watch some of the broadcasts from day ones from last year, it's crazy what people check back and just call on the river and stuff.
Yeah.
Ace to your head. Thank you for that host, man. Cool.
So he's saying he might be a little bit, had it like the button not called, you would like raising a little bit more in this spot because we could put his 1 pair hands in a very terrible spot when he bets out because we can have so many of the sets and nut combos from the big blind and 2 pair and whatnot, and we put his ace jack, ace 10, ace queens in just a terrible spot.
Yeah, you cage him super hard. The more I think about it, I think like because it's the main, I would lean towards the Russian player potentially. I mean, older Russian and younger Russian would be a big difference to me. But like I would lean towards the Russian player just having like ace-6 suited a lot and not so much of the sets because they may raise flop sometimes. It's a reasonable texture to want to raise the flop on sometimes. So I think I want to lean towards raising now because of that. But again, it's the main, and if it's like a thin spot, I don't want to just like burn off a ton of chips where there's many more profitable spots. But this seems like a reasonably good spot to. I think this would make a good amount of chips when you raise here.
Yammer says, I've seen people talk about using bottom pair as a raise. In this case, it'd be a semi-bluff. Seems like a good candidate in that mold. I think that works a lot better when you're heads up than when you're multi-way. We're super multi-way, and when you see bets his board, and then the Russian guy on the button calls, he just has a shit ton of ace-x and stuff. And it's not going to work as much, I guess. Do you agree with that, Jesse? You think it works better as a check raise, maybe heads up than in this spot with the caller?
I mean, you're 5 ways, so like having a set blocker is very relevant. If you're heads up, there are board textures where your heads up and check raising bottom pair is good for, I guess, sort of like protection or charging your opponent to try to realize their 6 outs. There are a lot of spots like on King 8 Deuce where you might have like 4 Deuce with the backdoor flush draw, and it might be a good check raise because your opponent c-bets a ton of stuff like Jack 10 that has good equity versus you, but if you raise, they don't know that they have 6 outs, so they can't ever realize that equity.
Right.
I think in a spot like this, you're just relying on the fact that your set blocker is really strong and you just have a ton of really strong hands, so we want to throw in some bluffs. I think if you want to be balanced, you should probably just do it with like 4-3 and 5-4 with a backdoor flush draw or something like that. You also have I'm hoping that we only have 4 6-4 combos. I would prefer to not call a 6-4 offsuit. I think that there's a big difference between these like bad connectors and bad one gappers, but you do have 4 combos of 6-4 suited as well. So you do have plenty of bluffs to choose from, I guess, if you wanted to actually be balanced without delving into this hand.
Awesome insight. Let's click call. Ready?
Let's do it.
I really like raising to 8,000 here. I think folding's not an option here. We have too much equity in the hand. But I really like raising instead of calling for a couple of reasons. Let's look at our range, not even looking at our opponents. We have all the ace-5 offs, all the ace-3 offs, all the 5-3 suiteds, and probably all the 4-2 suiteds as well. So, and we have the most 2-pair combos. We have a ton of 2-pair combos, and we also have pocket 5s, pocket 3s. We have a lot of strong hands that our opponents don't have on this board. They don't have any of the offsuit 2-pair combos. They don't have any of the 5-3 suiteds. They don't have any of the straights. So, and another thing is, I just think population. This tight conservative player is overseeding this spot with like ace king, ace queen, ace jack. He just has not a lot of board coverage here. He is tight, so I don't even know if he's opening 5s and 3s. We do block 3s. A better hand might be 5-4 to bluff with because it's more likely he has pocket 5s. So he's opening range and pocket 3s. But I really like raising him and repping that strong range that we have and turning this hand into a semi-bluff. Rather than calling, and calling is still a fine option, but you just really win the pot so much more and get aggressive, and you can definitely barrel with this hand. So I like 8,000. And luckily they both fold. We probably got at least one of them to fold the ace, so that's really good for us. And we take down the pot.
Well,
Who called Matt Nitty? Who did it?
where's Nitty Matt at? There it is. No, I'm kidding. Well played. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Matt is definitely not a nit. Let me tell you, he's hero called me down one too many times to be ever considered a nit again.
No.
He was right, and I'm not taking that away.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's good. And a couple, like 1 or 2 people said raise out there. Good call. Good job, guys. And yeah, Jesse made a lot of good points of why this is a good combo to raise with blockers, and it's going to put tons of 1 pairs in a tough spot. The Russian can also just have some random ace-x. He has a ton of ace-x in his range. He's not really comfortable calling behind with as well. And some other hands. So, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, awesome, man. Super good.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't try to like base my strategy around blockers that often because they're. I mean, like you know, if you want to play like theoretically sound, you should use blockers a lot. But like in reality, adjusting your opponent's a lot better. But in a case like this where like there's just not that many combos of sets, and you reduce the combos by like a third, it's pretty relevant to have a blocker.
Yeah. I like it. You want to pick one, buddy? I mean, maybe if you can see, I don't know if you have poker coaching up right now, but if you could see my screen or Toes, or maybe pick one of the newer ones. It could be Cash Game as well, if you're interested in picking a quiz, and we can do it that way.
Yeah, sure. Let me.
Awesome.
I mean, I can see it on the screen too. I was going to pull up mine, but.
Yeah, I'll keep it near the top if you want to check out my stream, or maybe Toes near the top. Yep, you can pick one of these.
Oh man, that 10-5 offsuit looks like it'll be a tough one because it's probably a limp spot.
Is that 866 you're looking at?
Where are you seeing numbers?
If
I've
you're
already
looking at the
done
stream,
that
you
one.
can't see it.
It's a
Jonathan Little.
Jonathan Little.
Little hand, yeah.
Yeah, I've
It's,
already done that one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Was that? I take it that was like a small blind limp pot.
Yeah, I can't. I think we may have even done it recently, but
It was
I
big
yes,
blind.
sir.
Yeah, big blind. Probably
Yeah.
big blind got walked or something. Here, let me give you a better view.
Here.
Bang. If you're watching my stream, you can get a better view now.
All right.
I see.
If you want me to scroll down, I guess there's only 3 at the top. We haven't done 6. We didn't give much option.
Let's do the 860. Have you guys done 860?
8.
Yeah, I have.
You did them all, man.
I know. I fuck around on these things, and I haven't missed a study stream in a very long time.
You're a hard worker.
Try.
Yeah, we have to scroll way down or either do 878, 877, or 875, or we got to go scrolling, basically.
I mean, I'm all for 877.
Queen 9 of clubs.
Jail.
We're 250 bigs deep. It might get a little interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's find out.
All right, let's do it.
Here we have Queen 9 of clubs. And the big blind facing a 2.5 big blind raise. Playing pretty deep stacked. Should we fold, call, re-raise to 750, or re-raise to 900?
All
There
right,
we go.
guys, let me roll this back a little bit so you can see it. Face and raise with the Queen 9 suited in the big blind. What y'all doing? So an option to filter tests you've already done? I presume not, but I would ask. That is a very good question. I'll check when we get back in the lobby.
Yeah, that's a very good question. That would be awesome to just have all the ones I've already done out of the way.
And also,
It's
probably
fine.
can do a feature request with just GTO and see if we can get it happen in the next release.
Right. So I got a call here. Let's just see a flop. Anyone 3-betting? I doubt anyone's folding, but you never know. If my opponent is tag, I like calling, but I can definitely see trying to 3-bet to 750. We're out of position, 250 big blinds deep. 750 is a hair small.
Yeah, Yunander brings up a good point. If we're 3-betting, I don't like these sizes. I would go like
1100 or something.
Yeah, something much larger. You could even at 250 bigs deep, you could probably get away with like 1250 if you really wanted to.
Yep.
I'm in your camp, man. I'm just gonna call it this. I imagine if we were playing like completely GTO, we would have a small fraction of 3-bets, but I just think there's more important things to focus on with our game than trying to figure out when we have a 5% 3-bet with Queen 9 suited.
Agreed. And yeah, tight aggressive player. Let's just play this post flop, see a flop, and yeah, let's do it.
I got a couple of razors, but mostly all calls. For me, I think I call in game a lot too. But I know Jonathan, like, this is the hands he likes to use as a 3-bet bluff.
Sure. I mean, I don't think it's a bad hand or anything.
Yeah, no, me either. But I think I call mostly in game too. I just think on quiz level, I think JL's going to 3-bet here. But
No.
You don't think so?
Nah.
I just remember when we were studying together, he was like, "Where's all your Jack 9 suited and your Queen 9 suited 3-bet bluffs?" He literally said that to me.
Yeah. That's funny.
So I got him in my head.
It's a great combo from the button, I think. Maybe a bit shorter, but you're just so incentivized to call.
Yeah. Cool. I think I'm calling the game. I'll stick with it. Most of the army calling. There's a handful of races out there.
What size was the chat raising? Were they going
Like all
900?
900, yeah.
Oh, 900? Cool. I was just curious. I seen 750. I was like, ooh, that feels super duper small. Like, they're never folding.
All 900, yeah.
So I feel like, yeah. All right, let's do it.
I am essentially always just calling with Queen 9 suited in the big blind, facing a 2.5 big blind raise. There's really no world where I'm doing anything besides exactly calling. If you are going to 3-bet, though, you should make it on the bigger side, because if you make it 750, your opponent only has to call 500 into a pot that's going to be 1,500. So do you really think they're not going to realize 30% equity from imposition? I mean, clearly they will, right? So this is a spot where if you are going to re-raise, you want to make it rather large, but you just don't need to re-raise, right? Queen 9 suited flops are great, so don't mess that up. Calls in the flop and then check every flop. So flop does come Queen 10-8. The reason we're checking this flop, by the way, is because the high card board should line up decently well with the opponent's range. I suppose if it came like 7-6-5, perhaps with a club, then leading would be pretty viable because then we have a hand that doesn't really want to check raise because it's just a gut shot and two overcards. But it does have a decent amount of equity, so that's the time where leading may make sense. But you definitely don't want to lead on the high card boards. So we check, opponent checks behind. And now the turn is a jack, giving me a straight. It's probably good. Should we check?
Probably good.
Bet 200, bet 400, or bet 600?
It's probably good. What do you guys think here? Betting the straight? Checking? Getting a little sneaky? What do you think? Check call, says Matt. Check the aggressor. Top pair. Open in a straight draw. Hit the straight. Now what, Matt? Now that you hit the straight. Bet big, he says.
400 LP.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is big 400? Is big 600? What's big, Matt?
Check call, in my opinion. Station's favorite. You're just check calling. Bet 400. So I'm seeing 400s and I see a check.
I see a couple of 400s. Matt's going 6. Check for Tina.
400 and we get to push our equity, BQ says. Okay. A lot of 400s out there.
Jellyfish doing 400. Dave Wiley, thank you for the follow.
I like 400.
Browns on team 400. I think he says big. Clay chips at 400. Mostly 400s. They feel can have a lot of one pair hands that they check on the flop. That turns either 2 pair or more equity. So I quite like a bet, says Yender. I quite agree with Yender here. 525. Big Tom Brown just going off, doing his own thing. 400, 400, 400, 400, 400, 400, bunch of 400s. What do you think, Sixes?
All right, sorry about that. Talking to the wife real quick.
What's
I think whatever
how much is your wife betting?
range. How much you betting here? 400 or 600? Check 200, 400, or 600. She said 600.
Savage. Look at that.
Savage, a big size. She wants it all the value. Yeah, I mean, I think when he does continue, he's going to continue inelastically. So he still has like some 10x, King Jack. Although I think a lot of these guys would just be betting those in the back seat. But at the same time, like he does have some 10x. He may just check. King 10, King Jack, hands like that. And they're going to continue no matter. I mean, we want to go on the bigger side. They're probably going to continue inelastically. We don't want to give some hands just a good price like his King X. So yeah, I would either go 400. 600's interesting. We may start to lose some 10x. Maybe raise some alarm bells for some Jack X. But all of his Jack X are going to have 2 pair or straight draw. Yeah, I'm kind of conflicted. I would probably go 4, but I could maybe see 6.
Yeah, I'm definitely on team 400 too. Beats I like 600 with King Queen. He fires off, except the fact that he checked the flop, so he probably has very little King Queen. Beats. So yeah, 400 seems good. Get called by all the 2 pairs, any pair draw combos that aren't there yet. That's it, right? Everything else just in. Seems good to me. I'm
what do you think here, Jesse? Go toe.
I'm torn between 4 and check. It's interesting because we don't have any ace king and he does, so
True.
It's like a fun experiment. If you wanted to take our 400 bet and just raise to say 2,400 and then shove river on a blank, it would create a really weird dynamic for us because we have no nuts. We have to call down with our 9, so he can just like make the maximum with his ace kings and presumably put enough bluffs in there. So part of me kind of wants to check, like having a nut advantage is more relevant when you get really, really deep. And then on the other hand, you guys made a lot of good points. He just turns up with a ton of like 2 pairs or pair plus draws on this board, and we want to get value from those. So I'd probably have some sort of mix, but I think 400 is a great size.
What do you think about in his spot checking ace king back on a board like this? Would you be c-betting more, you think, even on this board with the range advantage, or would you check versus some opponents on this board with the hand like ace king?
I think I would be betting a good amount of the time on this board. I'd actually, I guess I wouldn't have a super high check back frequency on this board in general, and I would contain mostly stuff like maybe like Queen Jack or Queen 9 myself, 10-9, stuff like that. So I don't think that he's going to have a ton of ace king here,
Right.
but he'll definitely. I imagine he'll have more than we do because we probably 3-bet all of our ace king.
Correct. Right. Yeah, I mean, even though he doesn't have a lot of it, and I would just kind of just play towards the fact why I would want to bet more is just because I think he has enough hands. We get to dictate how much value, and I think people will just call, maybe not realizing that he does have, but we don't know the caliber of this player other than he's tagged. So I would kind of just expect him not to have the ace kings as much and kind of target the rest of his range, in my opinion. And then make sure I can get 2 streets out of that where sometimes he does just check back. We bet river, and he just shows up with a 10 that would have called, or a turn bet or something. So I can see checking though, but I would probably bet more than I check.
I think what you're kind of saying too is that against a huge chunk of the population, checking is trying to be too balanced, and betting is much better, if it's even better to check in theory. And I totally agree with that.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I think general pop is just not really balanced in checking ace king in this spot. They're always betting, and then when they check, they're mostly just capped, a lot of times to not having, the very best hands, and then have just some marginal hands, and we can get a lot of value from those hands. 2 streets from those hands, in my opinion. But for balance and theoretical purposes, I can see maybe just checking and letting him maybe bet some worse hands. But I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna bet 400 and see where that leads us.
Do it.
All right, let's do it.
This is an interesting spot because we could just be against ace king or king 9, right? So we have to be a little bit cautious. That said, we do have the best hand almost every time. It's a bit of a bummer that we have a queen in our hand because we block our opponent from having ace queen or king queen, but what are you going to do? So the question really becomes here, will the opponent frequently bet if we check? Now, some people will and some people won't. If your opponent will bet very frequently in this scenario, then I definitely like the idea of checking, right? You can either check call or check raise. If your opponent will not bet very frequently, and say they do have a hand like king queen, they're just going to check it back again. Or if they have a hand like ace jack, they're just going to check it, which I don't think is necessarily a play, but if that is how they will play, you should be way more inclined to bet. Now, I have this opponent labeled as a tight aggressive player, so that's going to usually make me think they're not going to be betting too frequently when checked to, especially if they realize I'm confident and I can be checking with 2 pairs or straights even. So I think against a tight aggressive player, I'm usually just going to be betting 400. I don't think 600 is especially bad, because this is a pretty easy board for the opponent to have a hand like jack 10 on, right? It's going to call any bet, so I might as well just bet a little bit bigger. So anyway, I think my default bet would be 400 in this scenario, but I could certainly get behind checking if I thought the opponent would be a little bit more loose aggressive, or if I thought for some reason the opponent just had the nuts. If I thought, based on a live read, the opponent was very happy with his hand, then I would probably just check and see what happens. This time I do check, but like I said, I think betting's probably a little bit better. And now the opponent bets 500, sizable bet. Should we fold, call, raise to 1,700, or raise to 2,700?
This got interesting in a weird way.
All right.
Interesting in a weird way. JL checks in game and faces a bet. Are we raising now? Just calling? What y'all doing?
So it says I could listen to Jay Little all day. He definitely is a very good coach and instructor. Project his voice well. He's very good, man.
Yeah, he's good.
If out of position is truly tag, I don't see him not betting ace king on the flop, so I'm taking him off that king 9. I don't see them opening there often in the hijack either. Definitely more jack 10, 9, 10, and that's how I view it. Okay. Donner says check raise to 1,700 and a bunch of calls. Call to keep our range under repped, someone says.
Looks like mostly calls in the chat, but then the girls in the Toe Army getting crazy. Vice Chick raising to 2,700. Tina raising to 1,700. They're not scared. Here comes Fallon. Fallon says, well, I mean, what better are we getting to fold and what worse are we getting to call? Good question. Calling for poker, raising 1,700. Does raising just look too strong here? What bluffs do we have? It feels like it allows him to continue perfectly against us.
Yes.
Gil raising to 1,700. Ooh, it was all calls, and then there's a sprinkle of some raises in there.
Yeah, a sprinkle of some raises in my chat as well. D-Trip going 17, Serve going 17, LP going 17. Sheesh. Kind of conflicted here. Freetality going 17 as well. Man, it just out of left field. It's just all bombs. 2,700 now. What the hell? What is in the water this morning? Damn, the coffee is just now kicking in. I love it. Call and lead river. What's up, Ant? How you doing, buddy? Or Andrew? I'm guessing 2,700. What are you doing here, Toe?
It gets awkward this way, doesn't it? Wishing I bet the flop. Because now, like, I feel like if I raise here, I guess, do I still get value from 2-pair? I think he's got very little queen jack and way more, like, jack 10. I kind of lean toward call because I want to keep any bluffs he might have in. But what sucks is we're going to call here and check river, and he's going to check back river a lot.
When we raise here, do we get better to call in some worse hands to fold?
Yeah, I can't think of what's worse that's calling very much.
I mean, someone may just never be able to fold like the pair in the open-ended. I don't think King Jack, if we go 17 is ever folding in position this deep with second pair and an open-ended in position, where they can make very easy decisions on river. If he gets there, he probably just calls, and if he doesn't, we probably don't have too many bluffs when we're leading into him after check raising on a 4-liner. So, yeah,
Sorry, do you think he ever gets here with King Jack?
When we check raise, well, because he didn't bet the flop. Like, would he not bet flop, right?
And if he ever checks back flop, does he really bet this turn when he has a hand that's so good at checking turn?
Right. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out what kind of hands, like what kind of King X he would just lead here. Would he be betting for protection? I think he's betting a lot of his Queen X. It's very interesting. I would tend to just call here personally, but
Tina says,
I guess I'm a nit. Every tight decision I've made has been wrong every time today. So
Tina says, I have a little kick in my coffee with a little hiccup as she clicks the raise button. That's funny.
I think he would be betting King Jack on his flop as well. So I don't think he has like a 10. He can check back some 10x and bet those on a turn for protect. And a lot of those hands would be fine checking back as well. Like, yeah.
King Jack's an interesting one. I don't know if when we check twice, if King Jack starts betting for value question mark semi. What is that bet? I guess
King 9, 8-finger jamming. If you raise 2,700. I think King 10 could check back flop, someone says, or LP says.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm just going to call here. Still enough. Worse hands, our range is going to be disguised.
Can we try to trap with King 9 or Ace King? I'm not really worried about that as much, Jeff, as much as I'm like, what am I getting value from when I raise this? Like, I don't see a very big value range. All right, let's go. See what happens.
Yeah. Jesse, did you have a thought on how you'd proceed here?
So. Yeah, I mean, I would check call. I think you basically don't see 2 pairs almost ever because most of them are flop 2 pairs that they would bet the flop with, so they don't arrive to a check turn. And then you don't see much Queen Jack because that's a fairly good candidate to bet the flop. There's tons of pair plus draws that you'll extract value from. And I mean, it's an okay check back as well, but I don't think many people will make it. I think the hands that do have pair plus draw that will check back more contain more 9s, like 8-9 suited or 10-9 suited or something.
Right.
And then he does have some amount of maybe like very little King 9 and a little bit of Ace King or something like that. So I think that a decent percentage of his range, if you take out all the 2 pairs, then you start taking out like, let's say he checks back Ace 10 on the flop. He may check it on the turn because now he has some of the bad river cards kind of figured out. Like a King isn't really a bad river card for him, and Ace makes him 2 pair, which is, okay. So he doesn't mind checking back the turn. I think if he did check back King Jack on the flop, he'd continue checking back because it's just a very robust hand on this texture.
Uh-huh.
I don't think he has much king queen that doesn't bet flop, but if he does, for the same reason, he may check it back. So you just end up running into a straight too often when you check raise, I think, and you end up just like free rolling yourself by better straights. So I think check calling and letting him continue with his bluffs, which would probably be something like 6-7 suited or like pocket fives or whatever, is actually going to yield more equity than a check raise, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, I agree for a lot of those same reasons, especially like you said, with the free rolling ourselves, he definitely can just in position still have some king nine and ace king, even if it's small frequency. And if that's ever the case this deep, we are just in terrible shape. But yeah, I mean, I don't mind just calling here. So we're gonna call here, boys, and see what happens on the river. Let's do it.
Cool.
Normally, I would be very, very happy with my hand in this scenario. But the opponent just made a big bet. If the opponent made a smaller bet, like 250, I would just definitely raise every time. Because when the opponent bets smaller, he's going to have a whole lot of two-pair type hands or one-pair hands. But when he bets 500, this should, in theory, polarize his range. And if his range is polarized, well, it's going to be straights or nothing. But what is the nothing? It's like total garbage. And you don't really expect that from a tight aggressive player. So this is an interesting situation where I think I'm supposed to just call. Because at this point, if my opponent is value betting thin with like queen jack, I definitely don't want him to think all of a sudden that I have a straight. He'll just continue betting on the river a lot of the time. But if he does have a random bluff, I definitely want to keep him in. Not that I think that's likely. But I'm also just really concerned about running into ace king or king nine, which certainly are possible, right? So I think I should probably just call here and then check the river. I realize we are losing value some portion of the time. In exchange for losing value, we just don't lose a big pot whenever we do run into it. So I like the idea of check calling. This time I raise though, and I only really like the raise if the opponent is going to be betting very wide and then calling a raise very wide too, and I just don't have a reason to think that. So I don't like this play at all. I think this is a mistake given the read, given the bet size, etc., etc. So our opponent does call. River is now a 10, pairing the board. It gets better and better, huh? Should we check, bet 2,000, bet 4,000, or bet 6,000?
You want to just check to the aggressor and see what our options
All right,
are.
let's let me. This guy was up there whining, so I wanted to grab him real quick because he was making a lot of noise. All right.
You just want to check the aggressor and see what happens on the river? We're never leading into him, right? Actually, no, wait. We check raised and he called, right?
Yeah, we check raise and he.
So now we have an option to bet as the initiator. My bad.
Yep. We bet folding or are we checking? We bet calling. What do you guys like, chat? I'm seeing a bunch of checks.
I'm seeing all checks. Tina's adding a little more cream to her coffee and with a wink betting 4,000.
Oh, she's gonna bet 4K. She's gonna pot this river, huh?
Tick, 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 tick.
I'm gonna have to take this guy upstairs.
I like betting big and folding to a raise, says Fallon. Ginger's checking. Julia's checking. Brinkley checking. Mostly checks. Deuterino's at 2K and fold to a raise. Man. And the biggest problem here in my eyes is that 2,000 for Gil is that all the two pairs just got better. That's such a shitty card.
Yeah, he picked a very interesting hand. We have a pretty easy bluff catch. I mean, or he can bet worse hands for value. Are we getting called by worse value hands when we bet? I guess he can have some trip tens, and if he ever raises, he just has nut straights and boats. I mean, not nut straights, but he can have king nine and ace king, of course. Now he can have pocket eights. I don't know why they would check that board.
So the problem with the 10x is that he has to have a 10x that's going to call the check raise on the turn, right? So, does king 10 and ace 10 do that? No. Probably not. Not as much.
Is the small bet a sort of blocker when we go half pot out of position? And then we ask ourselves, are we calling raises?
What are we getting to folds? I'm really wondering if I'm betting for value or betting as a bluff when I bet here. If I'm betting for value, what's worse that's calling?
Come here, buddy.
And am I turning a straight into a bluff? Seems nasty.
I don't know if anything that beats a straight is going to fold, so it's pretty hard to turn it into a bluff.
Right.
Like if I were to bet call turn with like ace king, I'm certainly not folding it on the river. And
Sure. And then all two pairs voted up, so it's just a check. I mean, it's just a check.
I think we have to check here. Like our opponent can have. I mean, we just have no boats, right? Like our check raising range is never containing two pair or a set. Well, I guess it could contain a set occasionally, but it's really, really rare. And in the case that we do have a boat, which is super rare, we probably want to just check it for protection because everything else is a straight. We're just super capped, and our opponent has way more nuts than us.
Yeah, just a check call depending on bet size. Like if he bombs it and overbets 2x pots or something like that, we can make a decision. Have a pretty close fold. A lot of times you're going to just be able to just check call. He could still bet some worse value hands. So yeah, I'd probably just check call here as well.
Ooh, nasty card. Yeah, I think check. Yeah.
Holy Rastus says check our only option. Blah 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 blah. Sort of blockers. I've seen a lot of 2Ks, but yeah, boys. Sixes Mafia. We just checking here. Let's see if we can make this happen. Get a perfect score. Let's do
Once
it.
the swish, let's find it.
I want it so bad. All right, let's go.
This is another very dicey spot, but I think now betting is actually okay, because if our opponent did have ace, king, or king 9, you would think you would at least consider re-raising on the turn. So that means we're going to be most likely against a 1-pair or 2-pair hand, most likely king, queen, king, jack, queen, jack, something like that. So a pair with a draw or 2-pair. And this is a spot where if I check and my opponent blasted, I think I just have to fold. But if I instead bet 2,000, the opponent is still going to at least consider making a hero call some portion of the time. Like say they have king 10, he's going to call, right? Or if he has ace 10 randomly, he's going to call. If he has king queen, he may even call. Or queen jack, he may call. Not that it's a good call, but he may call. So this is a situation where against a tight aggressive player, I definitely like making a 2,000 bet. If we check, we may easily face a bigger bet. We don't really want to face a bigger bet. And if we did face a bigger bet, we probably just have to fold. We don't really want to fold. So this 2,000 bet essentially acts as a classic blocking bet where we can expect to get very nice information, very accurate information. That said, if the opponent's good, I think we do just have to check, because when I check raise the turn, I just don't have very many sets, right? Probably none. So if I have no sets, then it's kind of free for my opponent to raise, right? Because the best hand I can have is a straight. So against good players, I definitely like checking, but against not such great players, or players who just aren't going to get out of line nearly as often, I much prefer betting small. This time I do bet small, calls, and lose to the king 9. And this hand was definitely not played well by me on the turn. I think the turn was a big mistake. If I did call, or check call the turn, I would have check called the river, because notice we've been induced bluffs. I'm a big fan of inducing bluffs. And I think when the opponent bets 500 on the turn, even though I realize in pots that are small in relation to the stacks, people typically do bet on the larger side. If I had any reason to think that my opponent normally used smaller bets, I should have been much more cautious in this scenario. So I think I lost about 4,000 more, 3,000 or 4,000 more chips than I needed to in this hand.
Super interesting one Jeff says. What was that about King 9 and Ace King? I don't remember what we said about it, but definitely in his range. Yeah, and then I had another comment here I wanted to talk about. The classic value bet block, yeah. In 20 minutes, JL's doing a webinar on ICM, shorthanded play on YouTube. Nice. Make sure you guys tune in for that one.
Yep.
Tina was right about betting. Deuterino right with 2,000 bet. Super close though, right? 9 versus 10. I mean, it's pretty much 50-50 split on what you should do.
Yep. Yeah, I mean that was a close spot, and He says he made a mistake. He thought so by check raising turn, and he acknowledged that. Then put himself. I would just think if I was going to block bet that river, I'd probably go like 1,500 or a little bit smaller than 2K. So that's why it was just kind of interesting. I'd probably go a little bit smaller, but I think it's fair. All right, do we have time for one more? How you feeling on time, Jesse? You got time for one more? We can end it now. It's up to you, buddy.
Man, I'm in lockdown. I got all the time in the world. Let's do it, dude.
Sitting there hanging out, snuggling with his dog.
Yeah.
All right. What do you guys? Toe, you want to pick one?
Exactly.
Sure.
Or did I pick one? Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna have to score way down.
Oh, Jellyfish guy asked if I agreed with Jonathan. I think I was going to disagree with the small bet size, but I think he kind of covered it in his analysis after where he said if he was a good player, he would have to check. I think you're not giving your opponent too much credit if you bet that river because if they're any good, first of all, they should recognize that your line looks a lot like a straight, so they shouldn't really call with any non-straights or better. And if they're bad, yeah, they'll probably call down with Queen Jack for a small bet. If they're good, you're just going to end up in a situation where they've raised their Queen Jack because it's like your stereotypically like amazing bluff hand. You're just blocking all of the top boats, and then you're just going to get called by a chopper better. So I just really don't like a river bet against a good thinking opponent. But if you have a player who just loves to click the call button, it's certainly a nice blocker bet for sure.
If we put ourselves in the villain's shoes, do you think we should be betting King 9 of Hearts on that flop with the Queen 10-8 board?
Yeah, I mean, I'd mostly bet it. There's a ton of stuff that you put in a really bad spot, I think. I don't really mind checking it back or anything. I think that you're going to look quite strong on the Jack turn either way because you have so much Ace King in your range, and you do have like King 9 suited as well. So I think it could kind of go either way. I would generally just bet it because we have a tremendous range advantage versus the big blind either way, and we can just see bet this board a ton.
Yeah, I agree.
100% agree. All right, Sixes, you ready to do some scrolling? I'm looking at 494.
Holy smokes!
The ever-elusive Evan Jarvis in a tournament quiz.
494?
Yeah.
Let's do it. A 5K WPT with pocket fives?
Yeah.
And we're in no man's land. Let's go.
I think King 9 suited might be one of your best barrel offs if the board runs out like 2-3 or something on that board. So it's probably a good hand to bet on the flop.
Sure.
All right.
Mr. James, thank you so much for doing this. This is great from Jeff Gem. All right, guys, ready? I'm sorry. Did you play it, Sixes?
Yeah, no problem. No, I'm ready. Let's do it.
Hey everyone, Evan Jarvis here doing another quiz for pokercoaching.com. This is a hand from the 5K buy-in WPT event I played at Niagara Falls in February. It's early in the tournament, not a lot has been going on except for seat 1 here, the Epic Blaster, who has been involved in so many hands and done so much absurd stuff. This is a player that I definitely want to be playing pots with as much as possible. I can't really describe it much better than that. So we haven't built our stack up too much at this point, but we're playing very deep, 100 big blinds. And we've got pocket fives. So the Epic Blaster limps under the gun. Action.
All right, guys, I'm going to kill this because Sixes did a different quiz. So I'm going to chat called it. I think he did 493. Somehow he ended up on Jonathan Little. All right, I'm going to catch up to him.
Here we have Ace Jack offsuit under the gun, 6-handed, which is also the low jack seat. Should we fold, call, raise to 7,500, or raise to 10,500?
Listening to you.
All right, Sixes, which quiz do you want to do?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
I'm so sorry. I misclicked the wrong one. Didn't I listen to it? It's like, wait a minute. I clicked Jay Little's and not the 5K. So I listened to part 1 of Jonathan's.
I just listened to that too because I saw that you fucked up.
Yeah, I know. I messed up.
Someone in
Yeah,
my chat called you out, and I was like, "Oh shit, where is he at?"
I'm sorry, Jesse. Yeah, I'm an idiot. I can do.
You're good, man.
I won. I already started on the 10K one. My chat was already answering it.
All right, cool. So ace jack, guys.
Yeah.
Hey, no problem, Jeff. Thanks for hooking me up with these guys.
Under the gun.
Yeah, Jeff's awesome, man.
Also the low jacks.
Yeah, he is.
Should we fold, call, raise to 7,500, or raise to 10,500?
All right, guys, here we go. Ace jack, 150 bigs
Wait,
deep, 7.5Ks streaming in my chat.
Yeah, it's a 6 max as well. Oh man, I love 6 max tournaments. So much fun. We're all super duper deep, and yeah, it just looks like 7.5K is the play pretty much for the chat. I haven't seen anything else. You agree, Toe? Just 7.5K and move on with life. Get to the turn, Jesse. Anybody doing anything different?
Totally.
Let's do it.
Yeah, 7.5K. Yeah, it's pretty easy.
If we were in earlier position, like let's say we were playing 8 or 9-handed or 10-handed, I think folding ace jack at a tough table is perfectly fine. Do not think you have to raise ace jack or king queen offsuit, or especially the worse offsuit hands, every single time you get them. I typically do open them because most tables are just not incredibly tough. But again, this is a $10,000 six-handed tournament, so you have to be careful. You do open it up to hijack, who I have no reads on calls. Flop comes ace, 4, 3, 2 spades. Should we check? Bet 7,500. Bet 15,000. Or bet 22,500.
All right, guys. C-bet? No. What size? What do you think? Flynn couldn't get 7,500 out there fast enough.
Ooh, I see a 15 in mine. 15K.
Fallon and Pompey's checking. And
LP likes the 15. I see you.
A bunch of 17,500.
Jay Leno pretty much invented opening 2.5x before he came along. The standard was 3 to 4 BB. I don't know if he invented it, but I'm sure he started doing it earlier than most.
I thought the Negreanu small ball was like the OG.
Started bringing down the min bets and things like that, like around when that book came out.
Yeah, he was doing it in like 05. I remember him telling me one time he was doing it like 05, and like all these old guys were like berating him for like, look at this stupid minimum raise, and then they'd still fold their big blind, and he was like, I mean.
7.5 guys or check. Bunch of them. I think this one's kind of mixed for me, to be honest. I'm kind of okay.
Well, you can use a larger sizing here to get max value from the flush draws and the worst aces to continue inelastically. And if we go small, sometime we keep in an underpair to an ace a little bit more and still get called by, the same hands.
I just think checking is okay with the jack of spades. I think that's an okay option too.
Just for balance purposes.
Yeah, basically. And I don't expect him to have a very much worse ace X.
No, you could you think he's just going to use his suited worst ace X as a 3-bet enough, and obviously he's going to be 3-betting sometimes ace king mostly, and then frequency of ace queen. He's going to be 3-betting you in 6 max as well. So
except we didn't get 3-bet pre, right?
Yeah. He definitely can flat with some worse ace X.
Sure.
But by checking, do we allow him to improve to a king X, queen X type hand we can get 2 streets from and get him to bluff? We have the jack of spades, so we don't need to be super concerned with flush draws.
Block some of his flush draws. Yep. Mostly people betting 7,500, and I think I'm okay with that too. I think I'm mixed here. I think I'm gonna pull the old cheat answer and say I have mixed frequencies here.
What do you like here, Jesse, for a size, or are you checking as well sometimes?
Yeah, I mostly check in this spot. I think first of all, it's definitely a mix. I've like run this exact, or not this exact board, but like very close to it a bunch. And like, I know solvers like to do weird stuff like mix all of their ace X hands in this spot. I would prefer to like for instance, they'll equally bet and check ace jack with a spade or without a spade or whatever. I prefer to do what you guys are talking about and tend to check the hands with a spade a lot more and bet the hands without a spade a lot more. But I mean, you could go either way with it because it's nice. There's different reasons why it's nice to do different things. Like for instance, your check calling range is a little bit stronger on different runouts if you check call some of your ace jack with the ace of spades, but your betting range will be quite weak if you don't bet some of them as well. I think basically it would look like the higher up in your ace x range you go, the more often you want to be betting, and the lower down, the more often you want to be checking. But you definitely want to have like a little bit of ace king in your checking range and a little bit of, ace five or whatever in your betting range if you want to be perfectly board coveraged, which is quite difficult. And unless you want to sit around like rolling dice or something to randomize, like, I like to take like the human element side of this and just check a lot more with my hands with a spade in them and bet a lot more with my hands without a spade, and then just check my ace sixes or whatever suited a lot. So I would tend to check this hand a bunch. I think it's quite good. I also think that if you check, your opponent gives you a lot of information about the strength of their hand, and we get to go a lot bigger on the turn and river now if we want to. So like if you try to go two streets, let's say that we decide this is a two street hand. It can only get two streets of value on most clean runouts. If you want to go flop and turn, you're up against a pretty uncapped range, so you have to size down a little bit to some extent. But if you check and your opponent checks back, you're up against a pretty wildly capped range, and you can start doing cool stuff like overbetting turn, overbetting river for value, and then also doing it with a bunch of your bluffs.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah, that's really good. And I like being able to balance. Like you said, we can get two streets here. It feels like we can, like you said, get him. We can get two streets in a lot of different ways. Sometimes by checking here with the spade in our hand, like he can turn some hands into a bluff. And like you said, we get information on the strength of his hand as well by checking. And then we can kind of dictate the size we can go on turn and river. So yeah, I really liked it, and I agree. Yeah, I think I fucking like a check here.
Yeah,
It's kind of split here.
Me too.
Sure. I stand by 15K, he says. Okay.
It makes a lot of sense to want to check this hand too, because when you bet, you're not going to always see the turn, right? They fold a lot. But when you check, you're always seeing the turn. So clearly the times that we see the turn 100%, we would like to have a spade in our hand for board coverage reasons.
Yep.
Like, since we see it more often.
Absolutely.
Yep. All right, check it is for me. All right, chat, let's see. I've seen every option out there except for 22-5, so let's see what Jonathan likes. All right.
This is a spot where I think most people
Super
would
close.
make a continuation bet every time, and I do think that's probably going to be the right play in general, just bet small with your whole range. But whenever you are under the gun, or low jack suit versus hijack, both ranges should be quite strong. So you should consider checking some of your marginal made hands. And if you're going to consider checking some of your marginal made hands, then you also want to check some of your top pairs that can easily check call down. So I think fits pretty nicely into that checking range. So in this scenario, I would almost always bet 7,500, but there's certainly merit in checking, especially if you can look at your opponent, tell that he missed. Like say he has Jack 10 of diamonds, right? I mean, you certainly want to keep him in the pot because he's just drawing nearly stone dead. So if you can tell that your opponent's obviously done, checking becomes very good. I think a lot of people think, okay, I want to bet and pick up the pot, but picking up the pot doesn't make sense if your opponent's dead, right? So I'm almost always going to bet 7,500 in the spot, but checking is also pretty nice, especially if you do want to check hands like pocket 10s or pocket kings, right? And the plan would be to check, call, flop, and turn with those hands and then fold them on the river. But we would just not fold this hand. So this time I do check. The opponent bets 7,000. Should we fold, call, raise to 14,000, or raise to 21,000?
Tina says I would still check, even though I know I'm wrong, but I would still do it. Yeah, I mean, when you're looking at these quizzes, though, when you get a 9, it just goes to show you checking and betting super close and mixed frequency, like we said. So getting a 9, definitely not a mistake in any of these quizzes.
No.
Getting an 8, definitely not a mistake in any of these quizzes. Just might not be the most profitable line according to the coach. So yeah. Oh, funny. I just got a warning that JO went live. Guess we got to throw him the host.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, checking not wrong. 10th into 20K, nice one. Thanks, 40K. Thanks. I was so angry. I said when I started, if I bust 15th at 1 in the morning, I'm gonna be pissed for this little amount of money. And then it was worse. I busted 10th.
I hate to see
I would have
it.
rather busted 15th. Yeah. Call in the chat. What are you guys doing?
Do we think the tag player is going to fold to our check raise? If so, I think we just call. I mean, tag probably calling and continuing the turn. So I'd like to check raise to 21K. LPP is the new machine gun Marlin of my chat. Let's go, my dude. So we got one check raise, and it looks like all calls to keep our range. Kind of, we keep under pairs. We keep our range wider. We allow him to continue bluffing, and we by check raising, I guess we get a few hands, worse hands to continue, but we can get better hands to continue as well, and worse hands to fold. So I like calling.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I
Call.
don't really see a reason to raise either. I think we just get all his non-ace-x hands to fold, and flush draws are coming, cool, whatever. We'll get value from those regardless. I'm on team call. You got me.
Fold. He has a set. Hold on. You check raising ever here, Jesse, in this spot?
No, not with this hand. Maybe I'd start considering it at like ace queen or ace king, but I mean, he should probably be checking more of his low aces and betting more of his higher aces. So we really want to beat a lot of the higher aces. Sorry, higher kickers on aces.
What would you do with like ace 4, ace 3 suited that got here? Would you check raise that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems
For sure.
sense. Yeah. Cool.
All right, I'm calling. Let's do it.
This is a very easy call in my mind. If we raise, it's going to make our opponent fold out all of his garbage. And if we call, it's going to keep him in with all the garbage that's drawing nearly dead. And you may think, well, the opponent would never bet garbage here, would they? Well, some people would. Again, this is a high-stakes $10,000 six-handed tournament. So a lot of opponents are in there battling and blasting, and a lot of people will blindly think that, all right, if he checked the flop, so he has kings or worse. Here we go. We're going to barrel him off of it. So if that's the case, you definitely want to let them stay in with all of their bluffs. And of course, we will get outdrawn sometimes by a flush draw or, I don't know, 7-6 of diamonds or something like that. But that's fine. Those hands are drawing somewhat thin. We also have the backdoor flush that'll sometimes come in. It's quite valuable. So I definitely like the idea of just calling. Turn to 9 of spades. Should we check? Bet 8,000, bet 16,000, or bet 32,000.
Here.
So I was coming off me. What was that, man?
Oh, we didn't miss anything. We just check called the flop, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
now the question is lead into him or bet into him, and then or check again.
Yeah, Chad. Is anyone leading here? Check.
Yeah.
Check turn for sure now. Check. I think we're just checking. Yeah, I don't see really any purpose in leading a marginal made hand right now. I mean, it's pretty strong, but yeah, I think we should just
I
check.
want to keep any bluffs in. It's a good bluff card for him. I definitely think his ace X's are still betting, and yeah, I'm checking. Definitely checking.
All right, yeah, I'm looking for lead spots, but I don't think this is the one. Yeah, let's check.
Check call almost certainly. There's a spoiler alert. Let's do it.
Let's go.
Once we check call the flop, our main concern should be to keep the opponent in with this whole range. If we lead, which is betting into the aggressor on the previous betting round, that is our opponent. If we do lead, that's usually going to result in him folding out all of his garbage and continuing with his hands that have plenty of equity. Or he may decide to raise with a bluff, like say he has king of spades, jack, king of spades, jack, or king of spades, queen. He may decide to raise, putting us in actually a pretty bad spot, because I certainly don't want to put all the money in there. So like say I was to lead for 32,000, which is what a lot of recreational players do, thinking they're protecting their hand or something like that. If my opponent then makes it all in, now it's like, ugh, it's not really what I wanted to happen. And realize I could just be beat here, right? I could be against ace queen, it could be against maybe pocket fours, maybe pocket threes, maybe ace 4 suited, maybe ace 3 suited, who knows? Or flush, it could be against a flush. So a lot of people forget that your opponent has more than just a spade draw or just a nut hand. They play into one or the other. You have to realize your opponent does have a range. And in this scenario, most of our opponent's range is drawing pretty thin. But if he does have just king of spades queen, he has 20% equity, 18% equity. That's fine. Give the guy 18% equity and let him bluff. So we're gonna check.
opponent does bet 18,000, about half pot. Should we fold, call, raise it to 42,000, or go all in?
There you go, guys. What do you think?
We come this far to fold. What do you guys think? Anybody raising now? Call. What do you?
Pope's getting out there with the call.
Yeah, everybody's in there calling. The chat is streaming calls.
No one's folding, right? We can't fold. And plus, I gave the spoiler like 2 seconds ago.
Yeah, no, easy ass flat. Yeah, I feel you.
No reason to
Embrace the
raise.
station. Station's favored. I see you out there.
Tina's raising. Tina's going 42K.
Sheesh, the only one I've seen. Only raise. One raise.
Tina, are you raising for value or are you raising as a bluff? If you're raising for value, what's worse that's calling?
Laddering up. Thank you for that follow.
Yeah,
Yeah, and he kind of touched on it before. The same reasons we don't just lead because we can get jammed on. The same reason we don't check raise here. Like he comes over the top and we're in a terrible spot again. We're not actually protecting our hand. He could still have worse. So by check raising, we get better to call and worse to fold almost.
Bluffing. I think our hand is a little too strong to bluff here. Yeah, with the pair, top pair, good kicker, and the spade, right?
Yep.
Black. All right, let's do it.
Let's do it.
As on the flop, our main goal is to keep the opponent in with all of his air. And also, if he does have a hand like ace 10, he may decide to just continue value betting, which is nice. Obviously, if he has ace king or ace queen, we're just going to lose the pot. But that's okay. We're certainly not trying to fold. And raising at this point has absolutely no merit because when we get called, we're going to be in bad shape. It seems like this is a spot where a lot of novice players get themselves in a ton of trouble just because they're worried about protection or trying to pick up the pot. But realize it's okay to go to showdown, especially when you beat most of your opponent's hands. So we're going to call. We're going to check every river as on the turn. Opponent now bets 42,000, a fairly sizable bet. Should we fold, call, raise to 100,000, or go all in?
This it got a little awkward.
Did it really?
I mean, it got a little awkward.
Dude, I mean, all right. What are we doing here, everyone? Now we see a fold.
6 is not even.
I got a very. I feel
Sorry, we've bet the flop in this scenario, right? And then we check call turn.
No, we checked the flop.
Oh, we did. Oh, he said that you should bet the flop.
Yeah, I mean, he said.
No, wait, he
flop.
did bet the flop.
I thought he checked the flop. No, he said 9 was oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because we checked the flop and he said that was a 9, so he did bet the flop, and then he check called turn and now it's on the river.
I could have swore he said I'm pretty sure it was the other way. He didn't bet it, but he thought, I don't know, maybe he did bet 7.5K. Now I can't remember.
He did.
Okay, he did. Shit. And then we checked the turn.
And then
Does the chat know what the action is?
Yeah.
Chat, what happened? Check call on flop. That's what I thought, man. I'm pretty sure we checked the flop, bro.
We
He
checked
checked
the flop
the
and got a
flop,
9.
but he gave 10 points to the bet.
Right,
Yeah, so we
okay.
checked the flop. Yeah, I thought so. Okay, cool.
Right.
Thank you, chat. Fold or hold your nose and call. Check. Do we have an option to block bet? No, we did not. We are always checking, he said. Your hand looks like kings versus jacks with no spade.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, I
he
mean-
actually gave the 10 a bet. He gave the bet a 10, but in game he checked.
Correct.
Got it. So we're here just like we thought we were. Cool.
Yep. Crying station. Everyone's saying, ooh, I see a fold. Man, this is pretty split.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Yeah.
I'm just trying to
We
think,
got-
like, does he take ace 10, ace 8, and bet the river?
Take it to the bank. Just
Value.
1, 2, 3.
Man.
Still using king, queen as 1, 2, 3 bluff as well. If he gets to this point, blocking the king high flush draw. I mean, shit. I mean, I think we're under repped as hell on the flop by checking. So I would just never fold here if I'm going to be under repped and take the check call line. But yeah, I'm probably
Kind of feel the same
calling
way, but I
once
feel
we're under
guilty
repped.
about it.
Yeah, I think we just have to call. I mean, I don't know. I guess there's a small chance he could be betting something like ace 10. There's a handful of king X combos he might turn into a bluff, but man, yeah, I'm definitely not feeling great about this call, man. What would you do, Jesse? How do you feel about this?
So I feel like this is tough. I mean, I know, like, if we were trying to play an equilibrium and play GTO, we're supposed to call with the hand of this strength with the blocker, but it's really hard to think of what bluffs our opponent could get here with. They basically, they don't really have a lot of pre-flop calls with offsuited hands that don't make a pair of aces, so they don't have a lot of good candidates to bluff with, right? Like they might have like some ace 10 offsuit with a spade, but like that's top pair, so they're not going to bluff with it. Right. And they basically just have king queen off with a spade occasionally, which is 3 combos. So they really have to dig and use like something like, you know, jack 10 of diamonds and barrel 3 times here, or like I guess they could have like some like pocket 5s of the spade that they bluff with. I think I would end up just clicking call because we're getting a great price and we have a pretty good hand, but I do think that we're going to lose this pot a lot. And I think that if you think your opponent's, you know, not the type of player to fire 3 barrels without a great bluff combo, it's probably a cool spot to hero fold.
Yeah, it's just like ace 10 of clubs and man. Ace 8.
Yeah, like I said,
is that even going for
like
3?
I said, I can't find the bluff, and I can't see
his value range. Like
it's valuing weaker.
It's just a handful, and then there's a ton of value hands he can just flat behind with ace 4 suited, ace 3 suited, ace 9, 4s, 3s, 9s, ace 7, like flushes. He can just have king queen of spades, and no, he can't have jack 10 of spades. Guess he can have ace 5 of spades and shit. Like
you can have a bunch of aces up combos. There's like 2 of each of those, and there's some sets. He does have stuff like pocket 5s with spade that might bluff, but they also may just try to realize equity on the turn and check back the turn. Sometimes you've got like a bunch of like fractional combos of those.
Right. Overall, now that we're talking about it, it's really starting to feel like the range of hands that beat us is just disappointing. There's a way more value hands and hands that beat us than
the
bluffs that he gets here with. It's becoming, but you know, we're getting almost 3-1 at the same time as well. And our hand is under-repped by checking the flop, so maybe he does just 1, 2, 3 with something, but he's the tag as well, so shit, man.
Third spot.
This is a tough spot for sure.
Folding. Biscat, thank you for follow. Following the station and loses here a lot. Yeah, this
easy
is
station, crying, do it. I know, I was calling, but man, after saying all that, I'm really like leaning on a fold, but I'm a station. Let's go station favored.
What's up, Penny? Good to see you, man.
Ugh. All right, let's get there. You ready, Toe?
No. I'm going to end the stream here so I don't mess up my nice, pretty score, and see you guys, see you guys next week. We're out. What does tag mean? Tag means tight, aggressive. Lag, loose, aggressive. For the acronyms, if you don't know. Man, I fucking hate this spot. I mean, I guess I'm calling, but I think we're losing the spot so much.
Yeah, for sure. I think we're just right. We need to be right 37% of the time, he says.
You can't be aggressive and still bluff. Agreed. I just can't find where the bluff is. It's king queen with like the king of spades or something.
Stack preservation.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, they bluff the queen of spades too, so you have 6 combos, but...
Check the flop, the plan is to check call down in essentially all scenarios.
Bang.
Whenever you have a backdoor spade,
right.
you just know you're going to either have a top pair, which is pretty good, or a flush, which is pretty good. So we are calling down essentially on every run out when we check the flop. I mean, I guess if it comes off like 5, 6 or something like that, maybe that's the spot where we can fold. But there are really almost no boards where we are folding this hand after we check the flop. And this is just part of a good, fundamentally sound checking strategy. Make sure we are check calling with plenty of hands that can easily call the river. If we do want to check hands like pocket kings on the flop, or even hands like king queen, we may want to check the flop, right? We could check call king queen on the flop, check fold on the turn, check call pocket kings on the flop and turn, fold on the river, check call the aces, maybe ace jack and worse. That's going to be ace jack, ace 10, then the low suited aces, and call all those off on the river. So that's going to be a strategy that's relatively difficult to exploit, and it especially exploits the fact that some opponents are maniacal whenever they are checked too on the flop. So easy call on the river, no point in raising whatsoever. And we're against queen 10 of hearts. How do we feel the opponent playing this hand? We should certainly bet the flop, I think, when it checks him, because he has obviously no showdown value and a backdoor draw. I
I think he should probably give up with his hand on the turn. This is a spot where if he picks up a heart or another draw, got shot on the turn, he should probably keep betting. But 9 of spades is pretty rough. And again, this is a spot where a lot of people will just put you on a hand worse than an ace and try to blast you off. As long as you're balanced, life's going to work out very nicely for me if you want to drastically overbluff.
That was good.
Super interesting. Queen 10 suited, not in the range I would have gave him. Like,
Yeah, and
Queen 10 hearts,
yeah,
not
these
the
guys
one,
at
not in
10K
there.
just went 1, 2, 3, just bluffed its shit off in the 10K smash when he checks and just tried to blow him off the hand. And he had him marked as a tag. That's funny.
I think it's a super reasonable combo though because, well, first of all, it's a backdoor flush draw on the flop, so it's not the worst hand to bet and keep barreling. But you're blocking like Ace 10 and Ace Queen, which are two of their candidates to check call 3 times. So that's kind of nice. Like you're blocking a bunch of their like Ace of Spades, Queen, Ace of Spades 10 type of things.
Right.
So like if you're gonna choose some random non-spade hand to bluff with because you don't think you have enough spade hands to bluff with, this is kind of a cool combo to do it with.
Right. And he's probably thinking the same thing. You know, Jonathan is going to have some kings, queens, jacks, 10s that he might just use to check. Well, he's blocking 10s and queens, but yeah, he still could check back some underpair as well. And, you know, he may be able to apply some pressure to some of the weaker part of the ace-x. So, yeah, that's good.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's like, you know, like a bluff that's supposed to happen, but if they wanted to over bluff in that spot, it seems like an okay hand for it, I guess.
Nice.
Cool. All right, well, I think that's it, everyone, man. Jesse, really appreciate you coming out today, man. It was an awesome study stream. We really appreciate your time. I'm a big fan. I was watching the streams when you were on the streets, man. I would always try to kick over the raid sometimes and try to sweat the streams. He articulates the game well, guys. I'm going to throw out his Twitter. And I don't know how often he, is going to come back to Twitch, but when he's back, give his channel that follow so you catch the stream. So I'm going to throw his links out in chat. Make sure to hit him up, guys. He was an awesome guest today. Really appreciate that, buddy.
Thanks, man. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I really
Sweet.
appreciate you. And just thank you for, again, like I said, it was just easy. I just reached out and you said yes. It wasn't even hard. So thank you for being so approachable.
I love talking about poker.
Yeah, I really appreciate it, man. And super insightful and great session, guys. Like always, I record all these. If you want to watch back, if you missed any of this, if you missed any of the ones in the past with previous guests, or just the one me and sixes, or you want to see them all, make sure you check them out. Here is the link for the YouTube channel right there. Bang! And I'll get this one up shortly after this stream as well. Exclamation point PC in my chat, exclamation point PC in Six's chat for a link where you can sign up to the site for free and get up to 20 quizzes, homework charts, big blind charts for 100 blinds more, homeworks, all these things. Go get the stuff. It's free. You're foolish. You're foolish to miss out. It's free.
So you got to spoil next week's guest.
Oh, yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there, homie.
Okay, I'm eager as well.
He's all excited too. Make sure you tune in for all of that. Also, shortly after this, I believe we got the Sixes Mafia this time, which is good because he kicked our ass 2 weeks in a row, and now we won 2 weeks in a row. So we're back. This has been so tied, like since we started this, which is amazing. That's why Sixes and I work together. So pretty sure you're doing a giveaway, yeah?
Yeah, I can run it.
Cool. For that and the big announcement for next week, we are going to be joined with the one and only Greg the Fossil Man Raymer, main event champion. I believe that was 2002, correct? Without looking it up.
Sounds right.
Greg Raymer. Probably should have
Greg
been prepared for that.
Raymer, 2004.
2004, I was close.
I was close.
Main event champion, Greg Fossil Man Raymer, joining us on the stream next week. So another really big name. Should be a really big fun time. Make sure you tune in for that. And again, Jesse, thanks so much, man. Really appreciate it. And yeah.
Any parting words, Jesse, for the chats or anything? One last plug or anything like that?
Oh man, I don't even know where to go with that, but this is great, man. I love what you guys do. It's really cool.
Yeah,
check out these guys like past videos because I went over a couple of them to get an idea what we're doing here, and there was some really good stuff in there.
Nice, man. We appreciate the shout out there, and stay tuned. Make sure to follow his social and his channel, and we look forward to seeing you back on the Twitch street. And we'll definitely be sweating your runs and everything, buddy. Good luck on the grind, and thank you once again for helping us out. We appreciate that, man.
Thanks a lot, you guys too.
Stick in here. I'm going to throw the host over to Crazy Sixes so you guys don't have to do anything. You'll magically appear in his chat and be eligible for that giveaway.
Yep. So yeah, guys, stay around for a few minutes. I'm gonna run a giveaway. What are we giving away today? So are we gonna do the,
if you want to do a subscription giveaway, I'll help you cover it. No problem. And then.
All right, yeah, we're gonna give away a poker coaching premium membership today, guys. We're gonna spin for that, and then I'll get the details, and hopefully you get that up in the next 24 hours. So, premium membership to pokercoaching.com. Since we had a special guest on today, and we got Raymer next week, boys. Come on, let's go.
Let's go. All right, guys. For my guys, I'll talk to you later. Make sure you tune in for the YouTube. Click all those links, and I'm throwing the host now.
All right. I'll talk to you, Toe.
All right, man.
See you, bud.
Giveaway and all that, guys. How sick was today's study stream? Jesse's a beast. You can tell he works hard as hell on his game, and I really enjoyed it. Felt like I learned a lot as well, and I think we all get better.